It's fucking Umineko Thursday! Let's fucking go! Woo! Woo! Hi, I'm normal. So normal. Hi. Hello. Hi, gamer. Welcome in. Let's get our hellos in order. Let's get our hellos in order. Welcome in Fable. Welcome in Graham. Welcome in Zed. Welcome in Kama. Welcome in Waddles. Welcome in Connie. Welcome in Wolfen. Welcome in. Welcome to another week of book club where we read. We don't read. I read, and you guys listen. But how are y'all today? It's good. I'm doing good. I took a bath before this. I'm nice and relaxed. I'm comfy. I'm cozy. You don't know how to read? Don't worry, Connie. I'm here to read it for you. This is my job, my life's passion that I've decided that I must see to the end, which is reading you all Umineko, because none of you can read, apparently. Goodbye, hat. Why do you want to get rid of my hat? Why? What's the point? Just for the fun of it? Just to prove a point? What's your fucking game? This is the one with that dude named Battler, right? Yes, there is. Yes. Yes, it is. There's a point, to be fair. Yeah. Ugh. Let's see. Aww. A sharp point at that, yeah. You're so funny. You're so very funny with it. Oh my gosh, I forgot I still have my snacks with me. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna crunch for a little bit. But anyways, before we start, we have something very, 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 very important to talk about. The song I've been waiting for all week has finally come out today. This morning, even. Caramel rice treats? Yes, my caramel rice treats. They're so crunchy. I'll crunch into the microphone. They're very tasty. It's so good, and I'm here to share it with the class. I have to share it with the class. This is like when the teacher is like, hey, this is like when the teacher gets distracted from the, like, when you know when you're in like English class and your teacher would get distracted. You listen to mousing, it's so good. Yeah, that's what I'm putting it on the screen. Even I'm doing it right now. Even. We fucking ball. How do I? We just want. Pop that. Yes. It's wide and everything. Oh my gosh. Alright. Come watch this with me. I'm holding you all hostage. It's so good. Oh my god, it's so pretty. The animation's gorgeous. It's so good. It's so good. Oh my god. Oh my god. You should totally try the Umineko fighting game. I don't really like fighting games though. Fighting games, I'm gonna be real with you, fighting games just make me like irritated and frustrated. It wouldn't be fun to watch. Like, I get just like really annoyed and frustrated when I don't succeed at something. And like something like fighting games that requires like actual like reaction skills, it's just not my skill set. I'm just chilling. I'm here to just chill. Anyways, fluorite it is awesome. Pretty neat game with cool mechanics. Yeah, I might like I want like watch someone play it. I'd watch someone play it, but I don't think I'd play it myself. Just because I haven't. The other thing is, it's just like I tried getting into fighting games. I tried. I tried like months and months ago when like Grand Blue Fantasy Versus Rising was about to come out. I was like, oh, I'll learn the new game. I'll learn the old game, and then we'll have fun in the new game when it comes out. I just couldn't get into it. It was just so frustrating to just get stomped. Cause it's like people are just like, oh, get good. I'm just like, that doesn't help me at all. Like, telling me to like when I'm bad at something and I get frustrated, just telling me to get good at it just like frustrates me more, if that makes sense. Okay. But we are gonna start reading, because we got a lot of ground to cover today. I'll be honest with you, we got a lot of ground to cover. Because I want to finish, it may be overambitious, but I do want to finish the first chapter. If we finish the first chapter tonight, I think we're nearing the end of it. I think I'm just gonna go until we finish the first chapter. And then if we don't finish it today, we'll finish it tomorrow. And as long as it takes. And then afterwards I'll do like, we'll chat, or I'll work on stuff. Or like draw or something on stream or something. Something chill, something low key. Maybe I'll sing again, who knows? Who knows? But let me boot up the game. Pop that shit open. It's time to play Umineko, baby. I miss her. Ah! The fucking teardrop of the game openings jump scared me. Oh my god. Oh my fucking god. Every single time. Every time I open this game, it like jump scares me. Ah! I'll back up a little so you guys can see the screen. Not that you need to. You can't read anyways. Silly. Silly, silly, silly. You're tripped. I tripped. Ow! I'm fine. We're fine. I would never make a silly mistake. You know who else can't read? Who? What the fuck is wrong with you? You're sick in the head. Wow, so blurry. Take everything, leave nothing. Now the game will definitely go faster. Yeah? Okay. So, a bit of a recap before we get back. So last week, at the end of last week, everyone barricaded themselves in the study. Because people keep dying left and right. It's crazy. This will have unforeseen consequences on the local MILF conversation. Oh yeah, we did. We had a heartfelt moment about Kinzo and his long lost love who died. I think that the Ushiramiyas are over. I think the Ushiramiyas are like, oh, Kinzo's so eccentric, he's so weird. But like, I'd be so fucking hyped to have like a weird, like, grumpy wizard for a grandpa. I'm like, what's, like, I think he's kind of cool in concept. He's kind of an asshole, but like, because he locked his kids on an island, kids and his grandkids on an island, and forced them to kill each other, kind of, but like, or not like force them to kill each other, but like, he has his moments, yeah. But yeah, that's where we are. We're gonna start here. Okay. There's just something about the visual, effects of this game. If you ask me as a woman, then while I'd like to be understanding of father's feelings about true love, it did leave mother in an awkward position. The epitaph is supposed to be a riddle. Yeah. He basically pit all of his children against each other. That is funny, because all of his children are, like, greedy fucks anyway, so it's fine. Why is it playing out like a prophecy, then? Well, I don't know. We'll just figure it out. I agree. Cheating is cheating. No way to make it pretty. That's true. Yeah, that's right. Gotta feel sorry for grandmother. So have there been any rumors about a child between Beatrice and grandfather? And keyword Beatrice has been hidden in every corner of this case. So it's natural to suspect some relative of hers. No, I have not heard of anything like that. If there was one, and the memento of his most beloved person, he probably would have given them all of his affection. Since he ended up immersing himself in black magic instead, maybe we should assume that there was no such child. Come to think of it, that reminds me of a rumor I heard. My thought is what we're seeing is someone trying to solve the riddle in real time, but that's just a theory. That is true. That is a good theory as well. Let's think of that. Reminds me of a rumor I heard. You know it, right? That story about how grandfather heavily supported an orphanage called the Fukuin House? Enough of that. That's nothing more than slander that would desecrate father. Tell us, Aunt Natsuhi. I think even you'd agree that there's no time to hide things from each other. It's a worthless story. Father made massive donations to an orphanage and had the orphans employed as servants at the head family to give them some on-the-job experience. The story in question is simply some drivel spread by fools who claim that father was using the orphans for some filthy hobby. For a while, some guys even said he was collecting human sacrifices for his black magic. And he really is doing weird experiments and ceremonies in his room all the time, so I half believed it myself. And these servants who came from the Fukuin house are... There are several of them, but Shannon and Cannon were the two scheduled for during the family conference shift. To resurrect Beatrice, he brought in servants from an orphanage as human sacrifices. After all, everyone grandfather selected as a servant was young, about the same age as Shannon or Cannon. I was sure it was because grandfather had some bizarre hobby. Jessica, mind your words. When Aunt Natsuhi scolded her, the atmosphere instantly went sour and everyone felt quiet. Nazi kids playing child laborers isn't that much better. Yeah. I guess the 80s were a different time. I guess. Also, welcome in, Zeros. Welcome in. Tugging at the back of my mind. Sacrifices. Human sacrifices brought over from an orphanage. What is it? Freaky words like sacrifices don't pop up often. And yet I've seen or heard that word recently. Some part of my memory is tugging at me. Hey Beatrice, what do you know? I arrived in front of the portrait of Beatrice. It wasn't as massive as the one in the entrance hall, but that portrait, which must have been drawn by some famous painter, was still just as intimidating in the smaller smaller size. Hi, you've read Umineko, so no hints from you. It's okay, we're all just gonna be theorizing in here. No need to confirm or deny anything, but I'm very excited. I love the theorizing portion of mystery games like this, so please no spoilers. Below it, just like in the entrance hall, was an epitaph that supposedly hinted at the location of the hidden gold. Sacrifices here. I'd choose a cleaning job over dying hungry on the road. Yeah. Sacrifices here. What the hell, Battler? You're creeping me out.
6 sacrifices. Oh. Both of my eyes were as wide as plates. Everything's been predicted right there from the very beginning. Everyone crowded around. The same expression of shock rose to all of our faces. That's right. It's right there in the epitaph. It took you long enough, Battler. It took you long enough. They just noticed. They're not the brightest. Live Battler reaction. On the first twilight, offer the 6 chosen by the key as sacrifices. Oh, there's no doubt. 6 people died in the beginning, and even on the shutter where the magic circle was drawn, where the Hebrew was written, it mentioned offering the sacrifices.
I've been saying that from the beginning.
She would look nice in glasses. I agree. Maria said it right at the start. Right after we found the 6 bodies, when Maria was in the parlor watching TV, she said it.
The culprit isn't human. It's just the sacrifices chosen by the key.
This has nothing to do with the location of the hidden gold. It's the instructions for a resurrection ceremony using black magic or something. After all, this epitaph requires a large number of deaths.
It sure does.
Even reading through it quickly, there'd be 6 + 2 + 5. 13 people who must die. How many people are normally on this island? It changes depending on the shifts for the servants, but there's Father, my husband, Jessica, and me, and 2 or 3 servants. Today and yesterday there were 5 of them, but there normally aren't that many. Which means that normally there wouldn't be enough sacrifices to carry out the ceremony. No, wait. There was that rumor that grandfather was collecting servants from an orphanage to use as sacrifices in some creepy ceremony.
So what does this mean? He increased the number of servants to increase the number of sacrifices and waited for the annual family conference when even more people would gather? Isn't now the only time of year this ceremony could be held?
When Jessica screamed this, Maria broke out in that creepy laugh, looking truly pleased.
Haven't you ever heard of people making bets to test their fate?
Like throwing a sandal at it,
saying that if it lands right side up, tomorrow will be sunny, or saying tomorrow will be a good day if a coin lands heads up. There are many little superstitions like that. Sometimes when your luck is down and you get bored, you roll the dice and you get 3 6s and you want to believe it's a portent of some miracle. When flipping a sandal, you have at worst a 50% chance. Even if you get it right side up, it's not worth much. If you carelessly roll the 3 dice and they all come up 6, you might think that's a small miracle. Magic works the same way. You must pray earnestly for an extremely unlikely result. Then the feelings from all those stored up prayers gain magical power and become incarnate. The magic that grandfather was trying to perform was probably like that. The key randomly selected sacrifices in a lottery. So to reduce the chance that he himself was selected, he chose the day with the greatest number of people on the island to carry out the ceremony.
Ridiculous! Are you saying this entire situation was caused by a mere ceremony for some bizarre magic? Nazi yelled. She couldn't quite quell the fear of the scorpion charm might be the only reason that she was so safe. If I hadn't received that charm from Jessica and hung it on my doorknob, would I have been killed mixed along in with those 6? And the strangest part is, even though I hung the charm from the inside of my door, they couldn't get through the door. The culprit noticed the charm from outside the door and gave up trying to open it. A human couldn't have perceived that. Charm meant to stop something that was not human had done exactly that. Impossible, impossible, impossible. Yeah, Maria's just straight vibing, but Nazi. The epitaph certainly does continue to fit even after that. On the second twilight, those who remain shall tear apart the 2 who are close. Could this be talking about Eva and Hideyoshi? Painful as it may be, we must reach that conclusion, and after the culprit killed them, they left the words from the 3rd twilight in the letter there. That's right. After carrying out the 2nd twilight, they left the 3rd twilight in that place. The 3rd twilight was just like ancient Nazi had read. On the 3rd twilight, those who remain shall praise thy noble name. If you read it this way, it just keeps going on, doesn't it? On the 4th twilight, gouge the head and kill. Gouge the head and kill. George's parents were killed with those demon ice picks gouged into their heads. But if they were the 2nd twilight, someone else must have been gouged in the head. His grandfather. He was burned in the incinerator and our eyes were so drawn to that part that we didn't notice, but his forehead. No, his head had been gouged. Grandfather was a victim of the 4th twilight? Then Canon was on the 5th twilight gouged to the chest and kill. We thought Cannon's case was an unexpected encounter with the culprit, but that's wrong. From the very beginning, they planned to lure someone out alone and drive something through their chest. If the culprit has followed the epitaph such far, does that mean 3 people still have to die? On the 6th twilight, gouge the stomach and kill. On the 7th twilight, gouge the knee and kill. On the 8th twilight, gouge the leg and kill. Yes, you could read it that way. Ooh. I wonder about that. After those 3 die, it reaches the 9th twilight. Take a look. On the 9th twilight, the witch shall revive and none shall be left alive. We're all gonna be killed by Beatrice? I don't get it. Wouldn't that mean everyone dies no matter how many people there are? What was Grandfather after? Doesn't this mean the ceremony would kill him too, no matter what?
It's okay if no one's left alive. On the 9th twilight, we finally arrive at the Golden Land. On the 10th twilight, at journey's end, you shall attain the power of the Golden Land's treasure once and for the last time. The witch shall pray the wise and bestow 4 treasures. Grandfather wasn't afraid of dying. Look at the 2nd and 3rd of the 4 treasures.
One shall be the resurrection of all the dead souls. One shall be the resurrection of the love that was lost. So Grandfather believed he would eventually be revived, even if he died partway through the ceremony? Ridiculous. That's insane. When you die, it's over, right? The dead don't come back to life. Isn't that a miracle humanity's been chasing for thousands of years and hasn't accomplished? So is this what it means? Something like you'll be able to meet them in the afterlife where they'll be restored? What you're saying now is right. Would that mean that Grandfather, whose remaining life is slim, has been driven mad with life, is committing suicide? No, a massive forced group suicide. Genji, is such a thing possible? I don't know. The Master is a man who sometimes has the wisdom to see 1,000 years into the future. However, there are times when that appears to be nothing more than a madness to commoners such as myself. Okay, we should take that for a yes? What do you say, Kumasawa? I don't know anything. That's right, I don't know. Do you think I would be on this island today if I did know? I would have faked an illness or done anything to take the day off. That's right. What about your opinion, Dr. Naojo? You've been a Grandfather's fan for many years. I feel the same as Genji. Kenzo was a man who far surpassed ordinary people. I even felt an inhuman power from him at times. Even I don't know what Kenzo was thinking when he wrote that epitaph. All we can say is even if Father did write this script, someone else is carrying it out. That's right. At the very least, there's another culprit who attacked Grandfather in canon. Furthermore, that person is still continuing the crimes just like the epitaph says. The letter in the beginning that we didn't think deeply about. What was it that was written there? We thought back to the recitation of the letter last night. Beatrice has proclaimed something inside it. She had proclaimed that according to her contract with Kinzo, she would collect everything of the Ushiriyama family as interest. But then she had also revealed a special clause. If someone discovered the location of the gold Grandfather had hidden, their right would be lost. When the letter was read, Grandfather was still alive. But at that time, it had already been sealed with wax by the head ring, which means Grandfather had handed the ring over to Beatrice while he was still alive. If we take a straightforward approach, maybe we should assume that Beatrice is carrying out that strange contact, with Grandfather guaranteeing her that right. In other words, this was the same as saying Grandfather knew of and approved of the contents of that letter. In other words, it's basically a joint message from Beatrice and Grandfather, telling us that Beatrice will start collecting interest if we don't solve the riddle. In other words, Grandfather and Beatrice were demanding we try to solve the riddle of the epitaph. If we couldn't, they were saying that the massacre would be carried out according to the epitaph. What does that mean? What do they want? I don't have a clue what it means.
Look, another letter from Beatrice.
Huh? What did you say? Maria was poking at the top of the table, where the canned food everyone had been eating until just now still lay. A Western envelope from Beatrice certainly was sitting there, but so what? What in the... You're not safe in the study. You're not safe anywhere from Beatrice. Aunt Natsu let out a hysterical cry, looking between her own hand and the table, because the envelope she just opened was still grasped in her hand. So why is there still an envelope on the table? What the hell? What's going on, Maria? Where did that envelope come from?
Just now I looked at it, it was lying there.
I don't know anything. Anything. This isn't funny. There's only 8 of us here. There's no way some 9th person snuck in. There wasn't enough time during the few seconds that we gathered around the portrait, right? Get back, all of you. Back against the wall. and Natsuhi was pointing the rifle at Genji and the others, bellowing at them. Genji was overpowered, his face looking like he didn't have a clue what was going on. Of course, I felt the same, but a few moments late, I reached the same conclusion that Aunt Natsuhi had. Until just a few seconds ago, there had been no letter like this on the table, and nobody entered this room. That means someone among us placed it there during the few seconds when everyone was looking away, preoccupied with the portrait. Battler, open that envelope and see what's inside. Sure. I picked it up. It was still sealed with wax. Oh, this music goes so hard. What the hell? I realized it was a as yet unopened envelope, an unknown envelope. Without relying on a paper knife, I tore it open and pulled the letter inside. The contents were as follows. Are you enjoying the riddle of Kinzo's epitaph? As you are probably aware, you have very little time remaining. Please abandon any naive hopes of escaping after the storm passes. This game can only end with my victory or yours. When the time runs out, I will win by default. There will be no ties. Make sure that you do not misunderstand your current situation. That's what it said. The original release of the song sampled lines from Star Trek: The First Contact. Ooh, that's awesome. That's what it says. Isn't it clear who put this letter? It isn't clear who put this letter here. However, I've been able to narrow down the list of suspects. It's you all. Madam, that's just too horrible. Just before I moved towards the portrait, I sent a can of food down here. At that time, there definitely wasn't anything as strange as that letter here. At that time, Jessica, George, and Battler were already in front of the portrait, and they didn't leave the spot in front of the portrait until the letter appeared. So the person who set off that letter has to be one of you four. Beatrice is here.
We aren't Beatrice. Beatrice exists.
Silence. I don't know whether I should suspect one of you or all of you, but without a doubt, at least one of you among you is the culprit. That's right. There can't be a 19th person. There's no way witches exist. Even when Kanon was killed, yeah, that could be explained if Kumasawa was the one who did it. The truth is that Kumasawa entered the boiler room with Kanon and killed him, and then she lied saying she had already fallen when she got there. You're making a mistake, milady. Why would I do something like that? I don't have the slightest idea how my parents were killed in that closed room, but when they were killed, everyone except for the servants had an alibi. The only ones who didn't were the servants. But does that really mean it's okay to suspect them? What the hell, the switch summoning synths with the magic? Now that you mention it, they have no alibi for any of the cases. Ugh. Should we really be so quick to make that judgment? But this time, in this room, in this place, in this moment, in this minimally small bit of time and space, it's obvious. Only one of the four of them could have set that letter there in our blind spot. We can't tell who put it there, but it's obvious that one of the four did it. Natsuhi-san, please calm yourself. A lot has happened today. I understand how much strain is on your mind right now. Dr. Nanjo, it truly pains me to call you suspicious. However, your father's personal doctor and his closest friend. You've been by his side for many years and you might even know about Beatrice. Could you be hiding some kind of old obligation? Of course not. Calm yourself. It was pitiful to watch Dr. Nanjo frantically pleading his innocence. It was probably a normal reaction that anyone would give if they're suspected. Kumasawa was the same. Ever since Jessica voiced her suspicions of Kumasawa murdering Kanon, Kumasawa had been totally flustered. That's why Genji's still calm appearance still looked so bold. Aunt Natsuhi pointed the barrel of the gun. Genji, you are grandfather's #1 subordinate. Was Beatrice an illusion you showed to father, with you as the performer? If by suspecting me you recognize me as the Grandmaster's Grayson's servant, then I count it a great honor, regardless of the circumstances. However, I'm not the one who put the letter there.
Oh, thank you for the stretch and the hydrate. I will take a sip, thank you. And I will stretch. Remember to stretch.
Do you expect us to just accept that? You must be the ringleader. Maybe Kumasawa and Dr. Nanjo were your accomplices. And what Maria-chan too. Not content to suspect just the adults, Aunt Natsuhi pointed the gun relentlessly at Maria too. She's 9! But Maria asked as if nothing had happened. Or maybe she thought she would be fine even if she was shot. Maria, by this point we can no longer remove someone from suspicion just because they're young. So for the last time, let me ask the question that everyone's had since last night. Yesterday, who was the Beatrice who handed you that letter? Maria, don't dodge the question. Make it clear who gave you the letter.
How many times do I have to tell you? It's Beatrice, the 1,000-year-old golden witch. If you want to know what she looks like, just turn around. See, she's right there. Beatrice is.
Don't mess with us, Maria. Enough, Jessica. Maria, too. Don't you understand the situation? What are you hoping to gain by saying stuff like that? Stop stirring each other up pointlessly.
I don't understand. Who do you all want by the culprit to be? You only believe in Beatrice when you don't want to suspect one of your own. When you're trying to settle a grudge because someone who's close to you has been killed, only then do you want to believe in the human you can attack with violence and deny Beatrice. That's why you can't see her. Beatrice exists. You all just can't see her.
Silence! I don't want to label as you the culprit, but there's no longer any doubt that you enjoy making this situation unpleasant and are providing assistance to the enemy. She's kinda... Why are you beefing with me? I'm 9!
Then what will you do? Shoot me? I don't mind. Very soon the door to the Golden Land will be opened. Then all the dead will be resurrected. Right now, death is nothing to be afraid of.
Mom, she really is suspicious. We can't keep her with us. But Natsu, please calm down. There's no reason to shoot Maria. Please remain composed. The letter was meant to provoke us, but there's nothing to be afraid of. Even the culprit is scared of what will happen tomorrow. They're just scared of the police. Right now, this island is free from the reach of the law, but that's only because it's isolated by the typhoon. Once the typhoon passes, the law will return. We mustn't shoot. How can you stay so calm? One of these 4 is the culprit. No, maybe all 4 of them are working together. How can you stay so calm when one of these 4 might be the culprit who killed your parents? Even I have the desire to find the culprit and kill them. But that would be simple barbarism. I'll leave the judgment of the crimes to law. No matter how suspicious they are, you mustn't pull that trigger. I feel the same as George. Natsuhi. Get a hold of yourself for a second. Anyways, it'd be bad to shoot. In times like this, you tilt her head back and say, "Stay cool," 3 times. Let me make this clear. Witches do not exist. Not in Nakanjima, not in the Shiromiya mansion. I declare it as the Shiromiya Nazi, representative of the Shiromiya family. Oh, I'm not a big George. I'm indifferent on George. I think that he's a little weird. I think that he's kind of a weirdo. But like, in this situation, he's probably right. There's no witch here. I won't accept Beatrice. No matter what you're planning, I won't let you wet one finger on my daughter or the rest of them. That's my duty as a mother and the representative of the family. Those words were the final words of farewell that settled everything. To protect her daughter, Aunt Natsuhi would regard any suspicious person as an enemy. The only reason George and I were sitting on this side was, by coincidence, we had a clear alibi regarding the letter. If I hadn't approached the portrait, I would also be at the other end of that gun barrel, treated like a criminal. But even though part of me thought that, part of me was thinking that chasing all the suspicious people in this room would probably finally guarantee our safety. Genji and Kumasawa and Dr. Nanjo, all of them were on grandfather's side. Maybe you could say that once Maria started blindly believing in Beatrice, she was also on grandfather's side. That's right, they're all suspicious. But is this really okay? If we throw out all these suspicious ones in such a lawless way, we'll still have the right to defy the lawlessness of the witch? Aunt Natsuhi didn't tell them to leave with her own words, but with wordless pressure, she induced them to say that themselves. Because if Dr. Nanjo didn't say those words, the cold silence would surely continue forever. Calm yourself, Natsuhi. Still, I understand your feelings well. I myself feel like there's something wrong with my head after all these strange, repeated incidents. So I understand why you want to suspect us. If you really have nothing to do with this, then my action now would be beyond rude. However, please understand, just this once. Very well. Let's leave the room. What do you say, Genji? Shall we return to the parlor and continue our chess game? If that is what you wish, then by all means. I don't want to. After all, that means we'll have to leave this room knowing the wolf is among us, right? I don't want to, madam. Please forgive me. It was obvious what Kumasawa was trying to say. She was being ejected into dangerous territory along with the culprit. Among us. In the current situation, urging her to leave this room along with the suspects was almost exactly the same as letting her get killed. However, Kumasawa really was suspicious just for being the first one to discover that Kanon had been murdered. At that time, everyone except Kumasawa had an alibi. Unless we could prove the existence of some contraption or some 19th person, Kumasawa was by far the most likely suspect. I didn't want to believe it. However, Nazi and the rest of us were in such a difficult situation that we couldn't help but suspect her as well. So we didn't say anything to stop Natsuhi from trying to oppressively chase them from the room. We'd stopped her from shooting, but we were passively agreeing to chase the others out of the room. On top of that, Maria spoke to the fretful Kumasawa.
It's okay. Beatrice is kind to those who respect her. You believe that Beatrice exists. So it'll definitely be okay. I'll watch the TV in the parlor. Let's watch it together. It's so boring here without TV.
It looked like Kumasawa found Maria's roguish laugh very frightening. However, the three other people had agreed to leave the room. Kumasawa couldn't fight the flow and had to agree, crying as she went. That's so fucking sad. That's so sad. Oh my god. They're gonna die. Well then, Natsuhi, that will be all for tonight. Let us meet again tomorrow. Yes. Please understand, at least for tonight. When the police come, all of us will surely apologize for our rudeness. You may play chess, but do it so in a safe place if you can. Genji, I leave them in your hands. Genji, certainly. It can't be helped, can it? They always say that the most frightening bears are those with children. Genji, Kumasawa, my sincerest apologies. Let us meet again tomorrow. Maria-chan, too. Please forgive your cold aunt.
I forgive you.
Madam, the keys to this room. I'll hand both over to you. Genji pulled 2 golden keys from his pocket and handed them to Aunt Natsuhi. And I will also hand over my bundle of keys to the inside of the mansion. Took out a bundle of about 10 keys of various shapes and handed it over. To the servants, those keys were probably proof of their position. Being placed in charge of those keys meant that they were trusted, relied upon. When they were forced to return them, it meant they had lost the trust. Thinking about it this way, to Genji, who had worked here for the span of many years, there could be no greater shame. However, Genji's usual indifferent expression remained on his face. Genji, I'd planned that after father passed away, I would reward you for your many hard years of work to allow you to retire. To treat you like this makes me feel ashamed from the bottom of my heart. I've already received the master's favor. Everything I've done until today has been in repayment for that. Please do not worry over it. Well then, shall we, everyone? Good night to you all.
Good night. Good night to you too, Battler.
Maria, wait a sec. Knowledge of guilt made me call Maria back. I groped around my pocket and took out that scorpion keychain. This repels magic, right? Wear it.
Didn't you say you dropped it?
Back then I got ticked off and just bluffed that I'd lost it. There's no way I'd lose the precious charm you gave me. Maria silently took the charm. I was unable to say anything after that. Well then, everyone, good night to you. We watched them leave, our expressions completely worn out, and we weren't even able to respond. So at least Maria is safe. The rest of the servants are gonna die. Everyone else is gonna die. Until the door closed and we heard the auto lock, we were unable to breathe. Then, we were finally allowed to take a breath. After that, I noticed Beatrice's letter, which I'd been gripping the whole time, which was soaked with my sweat, actually had 2 sheets. The paper had been tightly stuck together, so I'd mistakenly thought that there was only one. There were no characters in the second sheet. The thing drawn there was a magic circle, written with red ink like blood. Just like how every magic circle up to then had been different, this magic circle was one I'd never had laid eyes on before. Inside the circle, a large triangle and a small triangle were fit together in a simple design. But just as before, there was writing in Hebrew, and it seemed clear that it held some sort of meaning. I wanted to know what that could be, but we had just chased Maria, the only person who could understand the meaning of magic circles, out of the room. I thought of this magic circle as Beatrice's second message. What does this magic circle mean? Damn it. After chasing out all the suspicious people, all we had to do was stay barricaded in there until morning, and everything would probably be over. Once the typhoon had passed, with the seagulls cry, will everything be resolved? But the letter, which had unexpectedly appeared in the study, forced us to reject that naivety. It made it very clear that, if time ran out, it would mean the witch's victory. When time runs out, is the witch planning to take on the offensive? This time, is she planning to display some fearful magical power? Maybe something that could have refused to kill 6 adults at once? Wait, when is time supposed to run out anyway? I don't know. Anything. With this, we should finally be safe. Finally. Definitely. Even as she said that, Aunt Nazi couldn't stop crisping that rifle. There was no release in the tension of her expression. Of course, none of us felt like breathing a sigh of relief. At least not like until we could hear the cry of the seagulls once more. Okay. Really quick. The cohorts are still on the table. They aren't technically safe. Yeah. Yeah, they still aren't technically safe. Because there's 3 of them in that room. And they gave the charm to Maria, who was with the servants, so... After we chased them out, nobody wanted to say anything. All of the suspicious ones had been driven away. Even though we knew there might be some innocence among them, we still did it. We chased them out of this paradise, where people don't have to suspect each other. But our motive for chasing them out was a suspicion of one person towards another, the worst kind of crime for a human. If we had accepted the existence of a 19th person, of the witch, then we all might still be talking face to face, trusting in each other. In that instant, we had agreed to chase out all the suspicious people, but that had been the right thing. Had that been the right thing to do? During this endless silence, we could do nothing but be quietly tormented by that sin. Aunt Nazi faced the door without letting go of her rifle for even an instant, sitting far back in the sofa. She would probably spend the night staring at the door without a wink of sleep. George gazed through the gap in the closed curtains by the window, looking down at the courtyard of the mansion that surrounded it. I didn't know whether he was checking to see if a suspicious shadow would come visible through the window, or whether he was wondering to himself about something. Jessica was sitting sideways on the sofa next to Aunt Nazi, with a dead expression on her face. Every once in a while, as though she just remembered something, she'd take out the inhaler she had used during her asthma attack and stick it in her mouth. I just heard from Aniki, but apparently Jessica liked canon. It's apparently so vague she hadn't even realized it herself. You know, it's the kind of thing that other people tend to spot before the other person realizes it. Which means she might have first learned of her feelings when the person she liked died. Must have been terrible. So sad. Come to think of it, Cannon was the one who handed her that inhaler. Maybe she was remembering that. I was fishing around Grandfather's study thinking the research and the meaning of the magic circle on the latter's second sheet. Even though we were shut up in here in a defensive position, my rebellious neighbor made me want to find some key, some other way to resist. After all, we've got plenty of time before tomorrow morning. Who would fault me for how I used that time? No one else showed that much interest in this magic circle. Its meaning was unknown, and once we understood it, we were likely to find some message that would cause us unnecessary anguish. I felt the same way. However, I couldn't just ignore it, so I killed time by going through the motions of researching. You sure are enthusiastic. Did you find anything that might serve as a hint? Not a thing. The first tough part was finding a book written in Japanese. Just how many languages could Grandfather read? It's incredible. Aren't you tired, Butler? You should take a rest while someone else stays awake. Aunt Nazi said she'd stay up all night for us, but there's no way her body can handle that. We should take turns sleeping. And you sleep first, Aniki. I'll keep researching till I get sleepy. You mean that magic circle just now? Yeah. We've got plenty of time to kill. I thought it'd be interesting to find out what kind of message Beatrice put in it. Give it a rest. Mess around with stuff like that, and you'll get it being possessed by something weird. Don't worry, I've been certified by Maria. She said I got no spiritual talent at all. Were we too cruel to Maria? Jessica, you mustn't think that now. But Mom, if Maria wasn't involved and there's a culprit besides her, then she's obviously a soft target for the murderer. If she's killed because of this, then we've just left her to die. Gloomy silence settled once again. It looked like Jessica regretted letting her emotions take hold of her and snapping at Maria. She'd always been like that. Always acting tough and regretting it later. I understand how you feel, but Maria was in close contact with the culprit. She might have been siding with them, talking over and over to further confuse members. I'm relieved that we chased them out. That's pretty harsh, Aunt Natsuhi. Couldn't have just been the nonsense of a 9-year-old girl. Probably wasn't very convincing to hear coming from me. I myself thought Maria was creepy on several occasions, even doubting her true nature. And even when Maria was chased out of the room, I couldn't deny that I'd felt some relief. If that's the case, then Samara will apologize. I'll take full responsibility for chasing them out of this room. This isn't something the rest of you have to worry about. You could feel a tragic determination in Aunt Natsuhi's words. To protect her own daughter, she resolutely chased out the suspicious ones. And if as a result she had to result the people who had unfortunately been suspected die, so be it. She's prepared to take full responsibility. Why does Maria have to keep saying stuff like that? She's bringing up about her own ruin. I think the reason Maria-chan adores witches and magic so much might be Aunt Rosa. Aunt Rosa? What does she have to do with this? Don't you realize it too, Butler? Maria's real father ran off somewhere a long time ago. Although Aunt Rosa tried to confuse the issue by saying he's on a foreign business trip. Talking about Rosa's family has become kind of a taboo in the Shiramiya family. I think Aunt Rosa has thought about remarrying, but I also believe Maria may have become her shackles and made that quite difficult. After all, she sometimes got really emotional and hit her. I agree with you there. It looks like Aunt Rosa was trying hard to like Maria, which means that she didn't really like her. She might have thought of Maria as someone who stood in the way of her remarrying. I think the emotional rejection from her mother must have left some deep scars on her young heart. So she learned about the occult hobby from somewhere and immersed herself in it to bury the holes in her heart. You know, to Maria, the image of a witch isn't negative at all. Remember yesterday at the beach when she showed us her notebook? Yeah, it was full of all those fun-looking scribbles. Yesterday when we were down by the beach doubting the witch, Maria got all riled up and started explaining about witches. And not one of those pages had shown a picture of an ugly witch. They were all brightly colored, beautiful, cute witches who looked like they were having fun. There's actually nothing sinister about them, like a boy might have imagined. They were beings adorned with beautiful dresses who could grant anyone's dreams with their mysterious magic who made everyone happy. Literal father's behavior? Yeah. She's 9 though, so we'll forgive her. Maria felt the sorrow of not being loved by her mother. Had she sought help from witches as beings who could give her happiness and save her? Someday a witch would come and using her magic would bring Maria happiness. Even though she believed that, as she grew older, she had to face the reality as her fleeting dreams were sliced to ribbons when, God forbid, women have hobbies. Me when Beatrice annihilates the entire Shiramiya family. God forbid women have hobbies. If something claiming to be the Witch of Rokkanjima appeared in front of a girl like that, whispering that she'd take Maria to the Golden Land where Maria could be happy. Now that it's come to this, I want to confess what's in my heart. Throwing out Maria, Genji, and the rest of you was probably the wrong thing to do, I think. It wasn't pleasant. Since Jessica had been the one to face them and slam them with words of rejection, her conscience must be tormenting her a lot right now. Then how do you explain that letter? No one could have said it there except the 4 people standing behind us. I made sure of that with my own eyes. If those 4 are innocent, how was that letter placed in the closed room with 8 people? That's right. When you put it that way, those 4 really do seem suspicious. But It's all useless. Ugh, it's useless. Useless what is? Right. It might not be worth anything anymore, but let me spin the chessboard around again. In other words, if one of those four really was the culprit, isn't that weird? That's right. Wasn't setting that letter openly on the table the same as confessing that one of them was the culprit? You're right, that is weird. If they were gonna do that, you'd think they'd put it in the crack of the door, for example, to make it look like someone had slipped it in from the outside. Of course, they should have known that they'd be suspected if they didn't make it look like the culprit was outside the room. Yeah, that's exactly. If the culprit was one of these four, setting that letter right in the middle of the table would be both risky and meaningless. But putting aside whatever was used to set it there, if we assume that the culprit is someone other than those four, or it's someone who was outside the room, then they had a lot to gain from that letter. Enough, Battler. It's meaningless to discuss such matters now. Can't get away with... Yeah. Exactly, you can't get away with anything. I'll say quickly guess what I was getting at. No, maybe she had thought about it long before I had, and simply held her tongue. If the culprit's outside the room, then they'd be totally stuck the moment we shut ourselves up in a room like this. That's right. The same as my theory about how Grandfather disappeared from this room, isn't it? That theory was that Grandfather left the room of his own accord. If the culprit used some tactic to lure him out, and Grandfather left of his own accord, then... Come to think of it, when we found the scorpion magic circle on the doorknob of the study, Maria said it herself. Beatrice couldn't get through this door, but she could induce someone to leave of their own accord. Which would mean we fell for the culprit's trap completely. She sent up some new potential sacrifices. Genji and the rest aren't fools. When they try to protect themselves, they should find the next safest place after this room. They'll definitely be able to hide themselves there. Aunt Nazi hadn't answered the question. Aunt Nazi herself had realized if the culprit wasn't in our group back then, the letter would make sense as a trap. However, it wasn't worth the risk of calling back the people she had once thrown out. To Aunt Nazi, right now, her greatest and only duty was to protect the children. By her thinking, in order to do that, a few sacrifices were unavoidable. Hey, Aunt Nazi, let me say something a little harsh, okay? At that time, what if by coincidence, Jessica had also been standing behind you? Would you chase Jessica from the room too? It's true that a lot of brutal things have happened, but as a mother, you thought you should protect your daughter no matter what. Because of that duty, you chased them out, even though you knew that you'd eventually be held responsible for it. It's not like I'm condemning that, but I was just thinking about what a great mother Jessica has. That's right. You've been dealing with these incidents since morning, and you've been pulling all of us along the whole time without losing your composure. If you were all confused too, the rest of us would probably be in the culprit's grasp by now. So I think we all have to thank you. Thank you. So what are you two trying to say? Is that you wanted her to act as Maria's mother too? I always thought of Maria as a real little sister. I adored her. And yet, a few things happened. We got a little confused. I said a lot of mean things to her. I hurt her. Mom, please. Let's stay together with Maria. No, everyone. There was no culprit among us. The culprit in this case is the witch, Beatrice, okay? So let's stop suspecting each other. Aunt Nazi, listen, okay, but hear me out. Beatrice couldn't have placed that letter at all. By the rules of the by that rule, can she use magic to place something in the room? Or can she just or did she do something else? It's all weird. This doesn't sit right with me. It doesn't that whole situation didn't. The magic circle into the letter is how it got in. Maybe. But there's also we've already seen the teleportation circle that was on the room that Ava and Hideyoshi were in. So by that logic, and that one didn't look at all like what it was, you know? Because we've seen her teleportation ability before. So it had to be someone in the room. Aunt Nazi had closed her eyes for a short while. Why was she coping with her throbbing headache again? Or was she thinking of something? You're my precious daughter, the one I finally received a whole 12 years after I married my husband. I've become the worst kind of demon to protect you. There was some pretty strong language at the end there. She realized very well that her words were an idealized virtue of what a mother should be, but even though she was strongly resolved to protect her daughter, even though she had to become a demon. We know Maria has made a deal with Beatrice, probably brought yeah, my thought was that it's Maria, and she just had the second letter and put it on the table. Because Beatrice asked her to. But that was her guilty conscience tormenting her. Today's been so long, so many things happened in one day, and we've been driven into a corner so thoroughly. I wonder if I have the right to greet tomorrow the way we are now. There it is. I found it. It's this magic circle. Inside the book I've been flipping through, I'd found the same magic circle as that had been drawn on the second sheet of the letter. George peered at it as well. The magic circle's name was the third magic circle of Mars. The Hebrew written it was from Psalm 77 verse 13 of the Old Testament. What God is so great as our God. The meaning of the magic circle was discord. Agitate eternal divisions cause the enemy to bring about their own downfall. Oh. Yep. Wait a sec. Seriously? Could there be a more fitting way to describe our current situation and mental state? We couldn't help be stunned in silence. So this letter was a trap? How did they place it here? There wasn't anyone in this room except for the 8 of us, right? Anyway, let's ignore how they got it in here for now. The culprit was after just one thing. They wanted to spread the seeds of doubt inside the impregnable room and use us to throw their sacrificial sheep out. In that case, they're after the people who went out of the room. Mom, what should we do? Those 4 are in danger. Wasn't surprising that Aunt Nazi remained unpleasantly silent. Even if this was a trap by the culprit, even the 4 had been chased out of the room were in danger. It had nothing to do with the safety of the 4 people in there. And there was no way to prove the innocence of the 4 people we'd chased out. If we were willing to let them die, then we shouldn't leave this room no matter what. That way is the safest. At that time, suddenly, a piercing sound of a phone rang through the room. It was an antique extension phone set on the table in Grandfather's study. The phone is working. Yeah, the phone is working! All the phones weren't working before! It had rung right after we started talking about the letter being a trap. It was natural we'd think of it as an SOS from the ones we chased out. But then Aunt Nazi spoke. Why a phone call? The phone should be broken down and unusable. That doesn't matter. If that's Maria calling for help. The problem with the phones with the culprits worked in the first place, then this call is probably... With that one sentence, the ring of the phone, which once sounded like a scream for help, now started to sound like a ghastly lure from some unknown person. Aunt Nazi hesitated over whether to pick up the receiver. Let's pick it up, Aunt Nazi. The phones might have been fixed for some reason. It could still be an urgent call from Maria and the rest. That's right. And if it actually is a call from the culprit, bring it on. Why don't we listen to what they've got to say? It's just a phone call. No matter what they babble through the receiver, it's not like it's gonna hurt you. If you don't pick it up, then I will. I'll take it. Hello? I stretched out my hand to take the receiver, but Aunt Nazi grabbed it before I could reach. We all held our breath, trying to figure out who the person on the other end of the phone was. But for a while, Aunt Nazi kept saying hello? A silent phone call. There's no way Marie and the others would do something so creepy. Which means, could this phone possibly really be? Aunt Nazi stopped repeating the word hello and strained her ears, because she thought she heard something far away on the other end of the receiver. What was that? Huh? Someone... singing. What do you mean singing? That's fucking creepy. That's fucking creepy. What the hell? Oh god. I don't know. Faintly from the other end of the phone I can hear singing. I wonder what it could be. Came it here for a sec? Hello? I forced the receiver from the stunned Aunt Nazi's hand and pressed it against my ear. At first I didn't hear anything, but because I'd been told about it beforehand, I noticed. It sounded far away from the receiver, rather than someone speaking in a quiet voice. And it sounded like a girl singing a song. The voice did sound like Maria's, but that just made the situation even more inexplicable. At the very least, the one who made the phone call hadn't been Maria. After all, Maria was singing the song far away from the receiver. In that case, the one who made the phone call should have been Genji, Kumasawa, or Dr. Nanjo. And yet they weren't saying anything. Why? For what reason? The person who made this phone call? Or was it? Hey, hello? Who was it? Answer me. Is that Maria singing? Answer me. What's happening? What is it? I don't know. All I can say is this is probably a trap and Maria's in trouble. Aunt Maria Nazi took the receiver again, but after yelling into it several more times, she realized she wasn't getting anywhere and hung up. Unless they're dead. Yup.
Oh, Zero, welcome aboard, welcome again, Express. Hope you have a great time. Welcome in, welcome in.
After that, she dialed quickly, and then she clicked her tongue. That's right, if the phones were working, it should be able to reach the police. But judging by Aunt Nazi's reaction, the outside telephone line still didn't connect. Let's go, even if we know it might be a trap. We have to go. Yeah, definitely. Jessica, Aunt Nazi, stay here. And Aniki tried to dress out. Aunt Nazi stops us. Hold it. I can't let you go alone. I'll go too. Jessica, wait here. What, so I'll be the only one left out? Nice try, but I'm going to. That might be better that way. If the goal of the phone call was to split us up further, it wouldn't be a good idea to leave someone left to watch this room. There's no time to argue. Let's all go. Aunt Nazi raised the rifle high and took the lead. I couldn't go unarmed myself. I found a 3-pronged candle stand and readied it. Though the pins that used to fit candles were short, it was almost like a 3-pronged spear. Oh boy. Then the 4 of us left the study. He's equipping items. He's learning. Then the 4 of us left the study. We left the study, which should have been the safest place inside the mansion. By doing this, we'd been lured out, even though we had barricaded ourselves in a safe, closed room. Perhaps we were doing exactly the same thing Grandfather had done when he disappeared from that last room. Maria, where are you? Answer me! I listened closely, but didn't hear anything. The mansion was vast, and since the passing typhoon was making a last stand, the sound of the rain was even nosier than before. Maria said she wanted to watch TV in the parlor, right? Let's try going downstairs. That's right. Let's try there. Everyone be mindful of your surroundings. Yeah. After the 3 sacrifices, though no one left. Line, yep. With Aunt Nazi in the center, her rifle readied and her finger on the trigger, we moved in a group, our backs together, checking our surroundings in all directions. It was just the magic circle that designed to spread discord had worked. We'd split up and furthermore had been dragged out into dangerous territory. In other words, even now we were doing just what the culprit wanted us to do. This was a separate world where we couldn't be awed for anything to suddenly occur. Aunt Nazi nervously pointed the barrel of the gun at every dark spot and shadow. It felt like that motion was out of fear rather than caution. But the rifle she held in her hand should have been a trump card that the culprit feared. You know, I've been thinking. It wouldn't be impossible to stick one of those ice picks into someone's chest, just like in Cannon's case, but splitting the skull and sticking them into the forehead, like in my parents' case, wouldn't be easy. Yup. You think the culprit had that kind of animal strength? They probably had some kind of weapon, a device that can shoot or pound in those ice picks. That handle was too short to be driven in by human strength alone. Crossbow. Maybe. Maybe a crossbow? Either way, they have enough force to break through his skull. I heard Cannon's wound reach as far as his lungs. If you haven't seen your opponent, don't go forwards. You mustn't move away from the back. I guess a hammer? I don't think it was a hammer, because, like, they were found in such odd positions. Because Eva, we'll think back to Eva and Hideyoshi, right? They were in a locked room. And the way their bodies were found was as if they just dropped dead out of nowhere, right? Cause what, they found Ava lying in her bed. Like, casually. Like, just casually lying in her bed, and Hideyoshi was in the bathroom. So it couldn't have been... If it was like a hammer and like a physical assault, you know, had enough time to look forward towards her. Yeah. It wouldn't explain Hideyoshi though, because Hideyoshi... The shower was, like, it doesn't... It seems implausible, if that makes sense. However, if you shot someone in the head, it would make more sense. Because they wouldn't be able to react in time. Otherwise, he would have stood. Yeah, exactly. Beatrice out there quick scoping people. That's true. She's an ace sniper. She's really a witch of all trades. Kinzo, your alchemist is cracked at CS:GO. She's a fucking she's a gamer. That's why she's outshowed herself. She's actually streaming right now. She's very busy. How sinister and frightening was the weapon that could shoot those creepy ice picks? I could do anything to combat it with just this candlestick in my hand. The first murder, the culprit probably assaulted all 4 of our parents once as they discussed the inheritance problem in the dining hall. And there are 4 of us here now. Apparently, I wasn't the only person thinking this. George, Jessica, and of course Aunt Natsuhi were stretching their sentence to the utmost limit, the highest and worst state of tension, slowly advancing step by step, one and another. The concept of Beatrice streaming herself soloing the Asiramias is very funny. I think it would be the greatest, like, game of all time, actually. The game where you're playing as Beatrice and you have to wipe out the whole family without getting caught. And you have to make sure they know it's magic. Because the seeds of doubt spread apart by that one letter, we threw Maria and the rest of them in the middle of this terrifying world. New Dead by Daylight style game dropped? Yo, that would be awesome. They should put Umineko in Dead by... It would probably be more like an Identity V kind of situation. A Beatrice killer in Identity V would kind of go crazy. I don't know anything about Identity V other than what Fable has told me, but it would go crazy. It would be sick. It would! Finally reached the first floor. The parlor was just across the hall. When we listen carefully, we can hear it faintly. Maria's eerie singing voice. She was singing naturally, as though she were in a good mood. She was singing mechanically, like she was at a graduation ceremony she'd been ordered to. The song she sang was just a common folk song, one that everyone was probably sung in school at one time or another. Why is that in the middle of the night alone with all of her art over and over? Why? Right after leaving the study, we'd called out in a loud voice asking Maria where she was. This time no one said even a single word. We hid our breath in the sound of our footsteps and intensely focused on our surroundings as the point of being completely high-strung. We stepped forward. The door to the parlor was closed, but we could hear Maria's singing voice through it. Natsuhi put her hand on the handle of the doorknob. When George stopped her, I'll open the door. Aunt Natsuhi Battler, ready your weapons. Understood. Take care. They might attack as soon as we open it. George, watch yourself. Sure. Then I'll open it. Huh? Tried to open it, but immediately felt the hard resistance of the lock. Aunt Natsuhi took the bundle of keys from her pocket and gave them to George. There were about 10 keys, and none of us had a clue which was which. Because of this, George had to fumble around loudly and sever the keys. Since we had hidden our footsteps preparing to make a size of the room, this felt almost fatal. The whole time we could hear Maria's voice from the parlor singing the same song over and over. It was like a Brosen crazy cassette tape. We'd been in that room almost constantly since morning, at the frightening things that occurred outside that room. I left the procession, only that room was safe. That baseless impression was quickly falling apart. The building tension is insane here. The way Ryokishi 07 builds tension is so crazy good. I really love it. I got like chills during some of the earlier parts The baseless impression was quickly falling apart. Ugh, it's open. Thank you. George, Jessica, move behind me. Aunt Nazi, let's jump in at the same time and split up in different directions. If we just stand around after opening the door, the ice picks might fly right through the center. I agree. Ready? I really wish I could say no. I readied myself. If they're gonna be throwing ice picks, I'll whack them with this candle stand. Go! Aunt Nazi rammed the door before flying into the parlor, quickly spitting up left and right, and searching for the parlor for someone who might be waiting for us. But what our lives landed upon... Okay, let's go. Okay. It was an incredibly strange sight. The parlor was stained with blood. The place where we spent almost the entire day, where we pressed together in order to protect ourselves from an unknown malice. The OST of this game is so good. Like, the combination of, like, music and writing is so, like, I can feel the tension. It's so good. Oh my god. Oh, god, this game is so good. Had been stained with fresh blood, become an ocean of blood. On the floor laid Genji, Kumasawa, and Dr. Nanjo, their entire bodies stained bright red with the blood. But the only way we could identify them was by their clothes. That's because, that's right, this is how the whole tragedy started. The faces. Just like our smashed up parents in the shed. You couldn't tell where the eyes stopped and their noses began. It was as though they'd been rudely plunged their faces in tomato pot pies all squished up. Oh. That wasn't all. Their bodies had other wounds. It was those demon ice picks. They were in Genji's stomach, Dr. Donjo's thigh. No, his knee? That's right, of course it's his knee. And the epitaph, the sixth twilight, the stomach. On the seventh, the knee was gouged. So after seeing one of them stuck near Kusawa-chan's calf, I couldn't massachusettsly laugh. Ah, that's right. On the sixth twilight, go in the stomach and kill. On the seventh twilight, gouge the knee and kill. On the eighth twilight, gouge the leg and kill. How can even the eighth twilight was older? And the next one, the ninth twilight. What was it again? Maria was there. She was facing the wall in the inner part of the room, standing stock still, completely alone. She faced away from this horrible scene, standing by the wall, singing a song over and over. There was nothing else in the room. Just the corpses of the three who had been brutally killed, and the phone receiver, which was still off its hook, proving that this was the room the call had come from. This is horrifying. Alexa, play Golden Slaughterer. Just that and Maria, her back to the scene as she kept on singing while facing the wall. We couldn't even scream at this bizarre scene. We could only stare, shocked, with our mouths hanging loosely open. Maria? Jessica called out to her, but Maria showed no reaction. Alone, she kept singing on and on. We'd come here trying to save Maria from some approaching danger. So now that we'd found her, we should have been running up to Maria, hugging her, joyous she was safe. And yet not one of us could do that. Everyone thought it, but they couldn't say it. After all, because that's right, even that's crazy. No, it couldn't be. Maria, stop singing. Are you listening? At some point, Aunt Nazi and I pointed our weapons at Maria's back. The PS3 version of Umineko had a really great moment where there's a CG where the camera slowly pans to Maria facing the wall with no sound other than her VA singing. Oh, I should check that. I'll check that out after stream, I think. I really am interested in that. I yelled at Maria in a violent voice. There's no reaction. She just kept singing. When the candle stand still ready, I ran up to her and forcefully, no violently, slammed my hand down on her shoulder. Then I pulled on her shoulder, forcing her to turn around. Maria's small body was quickly pulled around and fell. And as though unhappy at having her singing interrupted, Maria looked into my face with her usual expression. Even in Scribsum situation, she was just like normal. Maria, what is this? Who did it? Beatrice? Cut the crap. I threw the candle stand I'd been holding against the wall. The violence of that reckless sound should have gone straight to Maria's heart, but Maria's expression didn't change at all. Quit it. Maria, this time you should have seen the face of the culprit who kills these three. Was the culprit the same Beatrice who gave you the letter? Beatrice. In that case, it's certain. There's a 19th person. Beatrice does exist. And then Maria, will you at least tell me this much? How did they kill these three people? What did they use to kill them in such a brutal way? I don't know. How could you not know? It happened in this room. Are you trying to tell me you were absorbed in singing you didn't notice? Calm down, Battler. Maria, talk to me. Okay. George and Nikki, as I always did, crouched down next to Maria so that their eyes met and talked at her every so kindly. Maria, why were you facing the wall and singing?
Beatrice said to face the wall and keep singing for a long time.
So did Beatrice come here? Were Genji and the other rest still alive then?
Everyone came into the parlor together and sat down. Genji made sure to lock the door.
It was locked when we got here. But then how did Beatrice get into the parlor? George is the only rational person here, I'll give him that. Yeah, he's very rational. I do like that about him.
Beatrice is a witch, so locks don't matter. She attuned into butterflies and came through the crack in the door.
Huh? Calmly joking at a time like this? Like hell that happened. What are you saying?
You can't believe it? That's why I didn't want you to say. No matter how I say it, you won't believe. But Beatrice is a witch. She can do anything with her miraculous magic. That's why Beatrice doesn't care whether a door is locked or not.
And then, after Beatrice appeared, what happened to everyone?
Beatrice talked to us. She said grandfather's study was protected by a powerful force, and she couldn't enter no matter what she did. So she told us she'd select 3 sacrifices from the 4 people in the parlor. Everyone said no way. Kumasa always kept saying no way, no way. But Beatrice chose. And when she did, Beatrice said I'd be fine. Why do you think? Because the scorpion charm with the 5th magic circle of Mars. The one Battler used to pray for my safety. The one he put his feelings into. Because that power, Beatrice couldn't do anything to me and me alone. So she decided to use the other 3 as sacrifices. After that, Beatrice spoke. Come face the wall and sing a song for me.
You'll sing lots and lots of songs, so no matter what happens, no matter what you hear, you won't hear. Here, we won't hear, you won't know. Come sing lots of fun songs for me.
So I was singing the whole time, over and over. I didn't hear anything, didn't know anything, and then all of you came.
You're asking us to believe that? You think we're stupid?
Then who will you suspect this time? Will you suspect me? You're gonna try killing me right here. Even if you do that, Beatrice won't stop existing. Now the 8th twilight is over and Beatrice will revive.
Are you serious? I've had enough of that talk. As if witches could exist. I'd let myself get tricked. I won't accept it. Beatrice doesn't exist. I definitely won't accept it. So I won't let her exist and I won't let her revive. This image will remain a legend forever. I won't acknowledge something like that. Quit it, Battler. It's not like Maria killed them or let them die. Beatrice came and Maria had to obey. She was unable to resist. Huh? Aunt Nazi? She isn't here. What? Mom? Where did she go?
Just now she left by herself reading a letter.
A letter? That makes sense. The culprit must be so exhilarated now that we've reached the 8th twilight. They must have led a letter so they could brag even more. Were we so wrapped up in questioning Maria that we all forgot to look for a letter? But even as well as armed as she was, why had she left the room by herself in a dangerous mansion after reading it? Jessica tried to chase after her and tugged at the candle to the door, but it resisted strangely and wouldn't open. Mom? Mom! What's going on? Open up! It was only natural. Nazi had picked up the candle stand which Battler had thrown at the wall and which had fallen to the floor. She then skillfully wedged it between the doorknobs on the double door like a bolt, holding them closed. Intricate design of the candle stand had caused it to get caught solidly, made it the tragic stream of a daughter for her mother. Did it reach Natsuhi's ears or not? She's doing her best. She's gonna fucking 1v1 her. Watch out! Natsuhi, she's a pro gamer. Beatrice is a pro. You can't beat her in a 1v1. God versus witch, who will win? It's anyone's game. It's not. It's Beatrice's game, and it's Beatrice's world. We're just living in it. But I'm actually going to refill my water really quick. We're about an hour and a half in, so I'm going to, before we start the scene, because this is probably a good place to take a 5-minute break. We're gonna take a few minute break. So make sure to stretch out. Make sure to stretch, get a snack, get a drink, and we will go right back into it right after this. So I'm gonna switch over here. This will have devastating results on the local MILF population. I'm just calling it. Anyways. Okay, no, yeah. The women of Umineko are so... I'm thinking about them. I'm thinking about them so much. They don't get you like I do, Nazi. Nazi's so fucking bad. She's so bad. I love that for her. I fucking love Ava as well. Let's come back here. Gaslight Geeky Curl Boss. Gun! High key ship Ava and Nazi. They kind of, it's kind of that like enemies to lovers kind of, it's toxic Yuri. Yes! Ava and Nazi, toxic Yuri. Finally, the MILF Yuri we've all been waiting for. This is what we need. This is the future the people needed. You could have it. You could have MILF Yuri if you read Umineko, Naku, Koro ni. Give a couple more minutes to those who are waiting to come. Waiting while I open my pyramid of needs is Yuri between women over 35. That's so real. That's so real. You're so real for that. That's also my pyramid of needs. How did you know? You don't like the ice cream you got? What kind of ice cream did you get? Blue Bunny brand cookies and cream soft? Like, is it soft serve? Expecting to be easier to scoop, but you could just put this in a cup and drink it. Oh. Preference, you haven't read Higurashi by Rishikishi, haven't you? I haven't read it. I haven't read it. I've read a lot of the Higurashi manga, and I've watched the Higurashi anime, but I have not actually read the actual visual novel for... I haven't read the actual visual novel. Like, I know Higurashi. Higurashi is the reason that so I watched Higurashi years and years and years ago? Ages ago. It's like an anime I miss very fondly. It scarred me as a young, it scarred me emotionally as a young teen. And then I came back to it, I was like, wait, this shit's kind of fire. But yeah, I've read it. I read a lot of the manga, and then I've read... Oh god, was it like... Back in like... I think it was like... Trying to remember. When I... Maybe like... 2009, 2010? Maybe? You've only read the VN for Higurashi? The anime is like bad good. I I really enjoyed it. I really enjoy the anime, but I know it's not good and I know it's not completely faithful, especially the OVAs, which are just like fan service. Okay, yes. Yeah, I think it was probably like 2009, 2010. And that's also when so I've actually read, OVAs by nature are usually unfaithful. Yeah, they're usually just like fan service, but this was like super fan service. Like the weird early 2000s kind of fan service. Cause like, a very important note about Higurashi is that 90% of the main cast are like literal children. The like main characters are like, oh god, are they like middle or high schoolers? I forget. And then some of the more like important characters are literal elementary schoolers. Can we talk about Higurashi spoilers here or now? I think that Higurashi spoilers are fine. I'll probably end up talking about it myself anyways. Oh, or well, yeah. Well, if the rest of everyone else doesn't want spoilers, then we can respect that. We can respect it. You've seen it, so it's whatever for you. Yeah, the main thing is just like, you don't mind? Okay. Yeah, spoiler, the true protagonist of Higurashi in 1983, where Higurashi took place, was 11. She's an 11-year-old girl. So it was just really fucking weird. Just weird bullshit, basically. I was gonna say Rika's lived for like 1,000 years, but she has 0 life experience outside of being a 12-year-old. That's true. Isn't she 11? I thought she was 11, but she could be 12 as well. Well, no, is she 12 in... She must be 12 in, Is she 12 in Sotsugo? Yeah, it states on the wiki that she's 11. So, I'm trusting that information. But yeah. Rika at least is 11. Satsuko might be 12. That might be correct. Because I believe in like the parts of Sotsugo that aren't how do I phrase this? Parts of Sotsugo that are in the future TM, they're 16, but it's still like the OVAs get a little funky and weird. But Higurashi's really good. If you like the countryside and strange conspiracy theories in the countryside, it's awesome. And also a lot of death, a lot of awful, grotesque, really horrid deaths. Higurashi is the reason I have a terrible fear of getting my fingernails pulled out. It's like one of my greatest fears. It's also why I have like an aversion to nails, because I watched that scene in one of the routes. I was like, ooh, ow, ooh. It's really bad. Higurashi's peak, I think Umineko is more ambitious in terms of storytelling, but I think the cast of... I think a lot of people are like... I feel like a lot of people like put them kind of on the same level, but for different I think they're both good. Is what from what the main conclusion I've seen is like most people have like a favorite, but they're not like one of them. I don't think one is better than the other in any way. It's hard to compare them because of like just the tone and the casts are so vastly different. Cause like, how do you compare how do you compare like Western style murder mystery on a private island to Higurashi's like small town? Well, I guess like that's the one thing they do is they're very insular casts. But it's interesting. I really liked it. I really like Higurashi as well. The openings are some of my favorite anime openings ever for the anime. It's just good. It's just really good. Small town horror is my favorite gender. Oh my gosh, Zeros, have you heard? Did you hear about that Ryukishi 07 is doing a Silent Hill game? He's writing for a Silent Hill game. I'm really excited. I'm really excited for it because his brand of horror fits so well. Putting my glasses back on. I've had my glasses off for the first half of the stream. I'm so scared. What's he gonna cook? Cause I think that he's also said that it's going to be like, I think that like, cause what? It's gonna be in like countryside. Is it countryside Japan again? I know it's like Japan again. I can look it up. Let me see. Let's look it up. We're getting slightly distracted from the story of Umineko, Naku, Koro, and me, but we're talking about Ryukishi 07's writing style and how cool it is. 1960s rural Japan. Silent Hill H's prototype be a teen boy with hard-boiled sexist tendencies. Oh no! At least Keiichi does. Battler also gets better. He gets a little better, at least. Hopefully. I've heard that Battler gets better. Like, the vibes of Silent Hill F are so Higurashi core. It's probably gonna be like a return to form for... It is probably going to be a massive return to form for Ryukishi 07. He's probably busy working on it with, That's why he's not making Kikonia. Silent Hill 2 is up there as well. I I think, like, this is, like, an all-star, like, writer for Silent Hill. Like, I feel like, because I know a lot of people like the earlier Silent Hill games, and then, like, a lot of the ones afterwards have been iffy. I haven't played any of the Silent Hill games. I've watched other people play them, so I don't really know anything past, like, I don't know of anything past 3, basically, game-wise, but I know that a lot of people didn't like the more modern ones. But this one, it could be good. I think it's going to be great. And I feel like a lot of people are going to be really mixed on it, because a lot of people aren't, I feel like a lot of people aren't going to like. It could be good. It's very, that's another, yeah, it's got the potential to be, like, insane. It could be one of the best Silent Hill games, probably. But then they're never gonna let Ryukishio 7 out of the... Konami's never gonna let Ryukishio 7 go. If it's gonna be a Ryukishi work, it's gonna be a slow burn. That's what I'm thinking, right? Like, that, like, Ryukishi's, like, way of, like, writing suspense is so, like, to write it with, like, for him to write, like, a game as, like, the protagonist of, like, for the protagonist of this new game is probably gonna be awesome. Like, it's probably gonna be, like, a slow look into, like, trauma or whatever the hell Silent Hill F's theme is, because I know that it has, like, a floral theme, and then it's in 1960s Japan, so that's all we really know about it. But let's continue. I'm gonna cut us off here. Actually, hold on. It's dark out now. I can turn off the light in my room for ambience. Oh my god, we're so back. Don't worry, I still have a light on. I still have a light on in my room. It's just my desk light and I just turned my overhead light off instead, because I want the vibes. Even though I got scared last. Can't wait for Silent Hill F to have the 200 pits as I wind the end of world. World like in Higurashi. Yeah. Especially if it's in the 60s. Yeah. I was like, this is such a return to form for Ryukishio 7. How good for him. Okay. Good for him. He's getting to write Higurashi 2. Could you imagine, this would be the funniest play ever, but, like, could you imagine you open up Silent Hill F for the first time and fucking Rika Furude starts talking? Guess what, baby? It's Rika again. She's fucking back. Her suffering will never end. Okay. Taking my last bite of my bagel. Should have smoked that fragment. Now you're in Silent Hill. No. You're gonna have to come to terms with the traumas of your past. Natsu's figure was alone in the entrance hall. It was the place decorated by the portrait of Beatrice. Natsu threw down Beatrice's last letter, the one she had read in the parlor. Ready to rifle again, and that voice rang clear, yelled in massive space, and that was in the entrance hall. I am Ushirome Anatsuhi, representative of the Ushirome family. Show yourself, golden witch! Beatrice, the last MILF bender. The entrance hall was dimly lit. Other than a faint light which shone in the center of the room, everything was blotted out by the jet black darkness. In that darkness, butterflies glittering in gold squirmed, twinkled, and sneered. Natsuki gave one more huge gulp and pointed the cold barrel of the gun at the gold butterflies. So you've finally shown yourself. I still can't believe that something like you really exists. That isn't a problem. Both I, who bear the title of representative of the Urashirimiya family, and you, who claim the right to succeed the Eshib of the Urashirimiya family, are here right now. At this point, whether you are a witch or not is a trivial matter. Come, let us settle this. Which of us will truly succeed the Urashirimiya family? I, Urashirimiya Natsuki, or you, Beatrice? Allow me to respectfully accept your request for a duel. She fucking dueling? What the hell? You can't 1v1 her. You can't 1v her. She's such a fucking baddie. I love it. The gold butterfly slowly formed a human shape which walked into the dim light. Oh my god, she's here! Yes! Yes! She's here! Woo! Finally! Oh my god, hold on. So checkpointing, it's her! Natsuki readied the rifle and glared. The witch raised her golden staff overhead and laughed. Natsuki's finger slowly squeezed the trigger. Beatrice spotted in Ohio. And go! Battler made an all-out dash at the door and rammed into it, crushing the candle stand that had been barring it, and making it possible for a big gap to be opened in the door. He kept kicking the candle stand through that gap, and the door was finally released. At that time, they heard it. They certainly heard the crisp sound of gunfire ring out at once. Mom! Mom! Jessica, you mustn't run off by yourself. What was that the sound of a gun just now? Did Aunt Natsuki shoot? At whom? At the culprit? The noise had come from the entrance hall. At the entrance hall looked like a stage. Like the heroine of a tragedy on the ground bathed in light, arrayed the beauty of that silence. Aunt Natsuki laid face up, crumpled on the floor. Half crazed, Jessica ran up to Natsuki. On Natsuki's foot was almost as though a sparkly shard of pigeon blood. Ruby had blades there. She got quick scope. No, the MILF economy. From it, one stream of blood makeup passed on by her eye and began to traverse her face. The faint smell of gunpowder smoke came from the barrel of the rifle Natsuki had still grasped. Huh. Then she shot herself in the forehead? Why? Mom? Mom! Mom! I don't get it. Why did Aunt Natsuki run away alone, and why did she shoot through her own forehead? Maria, Aunt Natsuki left the room after reading a letter, right? There's no letter here. Damn it, what did Aunt Natsuki read, and why did she lured out here? I don't know. Who cares about that? What the hell? Why did she kill herself? Why did she leave me all alone? Natsuki, you really need to get working on your quickscoping, Queen. Jessica clung to her mother's corpse, crying earnestly. My body was consumed with an anger I didn't know what to do with, and snatched the rifle from Aunt Natsuki's hand. I spun around, pointing the barrel of the gun into the darkness on all sides, as though I was pointing a light from a lighthouse, trying to find the culprit. George, even in this situation, was trying to calmly figure something out. That might have been a fruitless effort. And only Maria was completely different. So this was all supposed to be some kind of predetermined fate? No, that's not it. This is all a prelude to a wonderful world. The door to the Golden Land will finally open.
On the 9th twilight, the witch shall revive, and none shall be left alive. And on the 10th twilight, at journey's end, you shall attain the power of the Golden Land's treasures, once and for the last time. With this, everything is over, Beatrice. Congratulations. So, lead me. Lead me to the Golden Man you told me of, right now.
There of all the dead will be revived, and even lost love will be restored. So in Maria's eyes, it's just as though all of today's tragedies didn't happen. It's as though all the time she spent deprived of love never happened. Stop it! What's so fun? What's to be congratulated? There were 18 people on this island. 14 are dead. Only the 4 of us are left. I'm definitely not gonna die. Not until the night is over. No, until the typhoon cesses and the seagulls gather again at the harbor. I'm definitely not gonna die. Nazi's often depicted in memes as being a gamer with cat ear headphones. No! It's like, listen, it's like, Natsuhi's like a really good player, and like, does really well, and does really good on like teams, but Beatrice is just that one, like, Beatrice is just hacking. I'll stay alive no matter what.
Give it up, Battler. Guns are useless against witches. Survival and all that stuff doesn't matter, because it's over. The journey has already ended. See? Look at the clock.
Huh? The clock? Hearing those words, I looked at my wristwatch. The meters were almost touching near the top. Very soon it will be 12 at night. In other words, 2400. When you think about it, isn't 2400 a strange time? It can be called 2400 and also can be called 0. It's the hour at the culmination of the previous day. At the same time, it's hour 0 of the next day begins. Beatrice. Maria suddenly called out happily and ran towards the darkness. It was almost as though Beatrice was somewhere in the darkness and Maria was running up to her. As Jessica hugged her mother's corpse, as Aurora stood there confused, I looked down at the barrel of the rifle, gazing into the darkness. The space in front of Beatrice's portrait lay in that direction, and the thing that Maria was running up to was the portrait's subject. You've got to be kidding me. This is just impossible. Like, I'd fall for something like this. Witches don't exist. I won't accept it. Something like you shouldn't exist because this is a human world. You think I would accept something that's not human? I definitely won't accept it. When I pulled hard on the rifle's lever, the cartridge was ejected, fell on the floor, and a new cartridge loaded. Then I sighted the witch down the barrel. Maria turned around. Still clinging to the golden witch, she turned around.
Didn't I tell you it was meaningless? Mere lead bullets are meaningless against Beatrice. Humans are so stupid, aren't they?
I won't accept the existence of witches. Who are you? Just try moving one step. Just try moving one finger. I'll blast you away. As the witch, no. The witches laughed, and even the large clock in the hall charged in on their laughter. It was probably telling us that the time was 2400. That was what the tone telling us that we'd reached the culmination of this day, and a tone informing us that it had all returned to nothing. The rule that the witch would win when the time ran out had already been revealed. Battler, George and Isan and Jessica.
And drought learning has ended and the witch is revived, see? And none shall be left alive. Which shall praise the wise and bestow 4 treasures. One shall be all the gold from the golden land. One shall be the resurrection of the dead souls. One shall be the resurrection of the love that was lost. One shall be put to the witch to sleep to all time. Sleep peacefully, my beloved witch Beatrice.
My God. The storm passed, and the leaden clouds that had enshrouded the island for so long cleared away. From the rifts between the clouds, the sunbeams shone, and yesterday's storm seemed like a lie. Just as everyone had wished, the seagulls returned to the harbor once again and let their lively cries be heard. Afterwards, the police came and conducted an investigation of the scenes. The corpses of the children were thought to have survived until the very end, for never found. Because the body parts that were discovered were the unimaginably gruesome nature of the scene, the police were forced to conclude that the chances of survival for any of the 18, even the children, seemed hopelessly dim. Just how gruesome was the banquet of the witch, and just how beautiful was the Golden Land. They were the only ones who got to hear that tale. No tales were ever told to the humans who arrived after the banquet was over. The best they do was imagine what might have happened during those 2 days. However, the witch was fickle. She made a point of leaving behind this tale, which didn't need to be heard and was allowed to be spread. Then, maybe many years later, a strange wine bottle that had drifted on the waves on the pier of the neighboring island was pulled up by a fisherman. Inside was a thin, tightly rowed notebook and a fragment, written up in top-colored letters. Written there was this tale. Through the notebook fragment, people will finally learn the truth about the mysterious and riddle-filled two-day period that started on October 4th, 1986. This incident was later called by many names, such as the Rakanjima mass murders, the 18 killers of Rakanjima, though Delantes from around the world know as the witch legend serial murders. Lovers of the occult all claimed it was an immortal ceremony that had sealed off the island, and those 2 mysterious days were savagely embellished with many different interpretations of the story. However, one of these interpretations approached the truth. Furthermore, while the notebook fragment describes this mysterious incident, it does not reveal the truth of what happened here. Or perhaps not even the writer knew what the truth was. According to the writer, her name was Ushirimiya Maria. Incidentally, as a result of the all-out police investigation, part of Maria's body, a piece of her jaw, was discovered. It's one of the rare instances where a corpse was disbenefits thanks to dental records. At that gruesome years, where the something, because the jaw had been separated from the body, the least judged chances of survival would be hopelessly dim. So let us conclude this tale with the final section of the book fragment that Maria left behind. By the time we read this, we'll probably be dead, although there may not be a corpse. You who have read this, please find out the truth. That's my only wish. Shirimiya Maria. To this day, the ghost of the Golden Witch legend serial murders has not yet been brought to light. First game. Legend of the Golden Witch. Result. Shirimiya Crouch died in the first clearly... Okay, so it's just how everyone died. Her jaw. Her fucking jaw. She was torn to shreds. Missing on the 8th time. Will the witch invite the man who denied her existence to the Golden Land? The witch will praise the wise and should bestow 4 treasures in the Golden Land. There she choose to revive the souls of the dead and the love that had been lost. There it would have been out of their grasp. Joseph chose his lost fiancé. Shika chose the boy he should like most. Maria chose the lost love of her mother. Sleep peacefully, Beatrice. Let nothing disturb your slumber ever again. The winner is the Golden Witch Beatrice. Time ran out before one of the 18th people could solve the riddle of the gold, and all 18 died. When the seagulls cried, none were left alive. Be a streaming chat. If I put you in a meat grinder and only your jaw came out, you're probably dead. Battler rolls worst joint ever. Asks to leave Golden Land. That's actually how it happened. He asked Beatrice what the fuck she was smoking and then just fucking obliterated him, and then she obliterated him. The Golden Witch has prepared a gift for you. Oh, extras? That's the Gold's bar. I wonder where that came from. Beatrice left me a gift. A gift. Tea party? Can I play this without, like, spoilers? Beatrice is giving 18 gift subs to the community. Can we play this without being, like, spoiled? Or is this like absolutely necessary reading? There's no spoilers? It is necessary? Okay, good to know. Tea party is important. Do you guys want to start the tea party then? We should be able to finish... How how long, do you know, Zeros, do you know how long the tea party is? It would be weird to present spoilers to those who don't know. Let you look it up. Okay. Because I am going to be playing this again tomorrow, I think. So, I do need something to play. So, I might start this, and then if we don't finish it tonight, we will finish it tomorrow. I want to keep going, though. It's 1 hour? Okay, we can do it. I'm totally down to do another hour tonight. Episode 1, Tea Party! Purgatorio! Hey everyone, congrats on finishing Umineko no Naku Koro ni. Man, I still don't have a clue what was going on when that story ended. Battler! Well, it is true, he doesn't know shit. What's the one, is it like, I forget if it's a Vine or if it's a TikTok, but it's the one thing where it's just like, I don't know shit. I don't understand things. That one? That's Battler. Just what happened? Was that basically the bad ending where time runs out before the culprit gets exposed? Definitely a bad ending. That's right. Beatrice's letter, which Maria read in the first day, did tell us in advance to solve the riddle. We were all so busy trying to protect ourselves and look for the culprit that we didn't even take a shot at it. That's right. If we had actually tried to solve the riddle, maybe things would have ended differently. I wonder about that. Shannon, you did a good job too. You don't have to be our waitress and serve tea. After all, this is a rap party. As a group of people who met a horrible fate, let's get along and lick each other's wounds. Speaking of a horrible fate, Shannon beats the rest of us hands down, doesn't she? She was such a beautiful character, so I thought she'd definitely survive until the very end. But she was killed right in the beginning, and on top of that, what was it? Half of her face was smashed, right? It's the worst. That was my role, so there was no way around it. Lisa, it's nothing for you to worry about. Judging by the last epilogue, even Milady and the rest of them had an extremely tragic end. It seems so. Even I think I remember seeing this horrible picture, kind of like my entire body had been eaten apart and dismembered. Charge! Now, that's... Speaking of which, shouldn't you think Cannon's last moments were the coolest? Even though he had the tables turned on him, it was a showdown with the culprit, right? It was a whole bunch better than our confusing last moments, right? Though in the end, I was unable to get a solid hit in. Still, I think Cannon's death was a big hint. After all, because of that, the existence of a ninth person was made clear. So the Higurashi chapters also ended with something like a rap party where the characters discuss the story and offer theories like actors after a play. That is so cool. I love it. That's right. At that time, everyone's location was obvious. So it was impossible for anyone other than some unknown 19th person to kill Cannon. I said it was Beatrice from the beginning over and over. I don't want to believe it, but that does prove the culprit was a witch calling herself Beatrice. That's right. There were many strange things that happened that a human couldn't do. Only a witch could do things like murdering Aunt Eva in that closed room. A human couldn't do it. Not only is the existence of a 19th person clear, but it's also obvious that this person holds a power that humans can't even imagine. In that case, I don't think there's anything wrong with calling this person Beatrice. Oh, my ads have started. Hold on. We'll pause for a moment. Pause. I should have run them before this. So everyone can enjoy this part. I feel like Battler is gonna start fucking yapping again. He's gonna start fucking talking about the witch isn't real. We're not alive. He's about to be like, the witch isn't real. This isn't real. You can't prove it was real. Shiram Battler, more like a Shiramiya Yapper or something. A Shiramiya Yapper, that's his name. That's his name, that's who he is. Beatrice definitely, she punched skulls. She at least has inhuman strength. I'm so excited for Battler to break down all the murders next time. Because I feel like I know enough where I know that something is going to happen that will flip the board on its head. I'm so excited about it. Oh, it's gonna be so good. Cause he spun the board around, yeah. He's expanding. He is playing 5D chess with multiverse with time travel. Time travel doesn't exist, I'll never accept it. He doesn't accept it. He's gonna piss off the witch. She's gonna roll a bad blunt and be forced to leave the premises. We probably met at the very end. Met with the Golden Witch. I kept saying Beatrice exists, and we all went bad because no one ever believed. Even one of her witch friends said that miracles won't occur if you don't believe. That's right. Beatrice is generous to those who respect her. It seems to me that Maria was never a target of Beatrice's wrath up until the very end, despite the horrible crimes that occurred one after the other. Well, Maria believed in Beatrice from the very beginning. But if that's the case, how do you explain why you and the rest were all killed? You guys believe in Beatrice just as much, right? Beatrice probably had her reason. If the Song of the Epitaph represented Beatrice's resurrection ceremony, many sacrifices were needed. He must simply have been designated to one of those. Shannon, you met a horrible end. At the very least, I wish your death could have been more peaceful and pretty. Well, it's not like it hurt. Anyway, right now I'm perfectly fine, so don't worry. After seeing him choke Shannon's cheeks, who had been crushed during the story, everyone laughed out loud, smiling. Well, it feels a bit weird saying this, but I was sure the story could fit into the standard mystery genre. I'm a bit surprised to find out that it's a fantasy. After all, a Western mansion shut away from the outside world on an isolated island with an inherent problem on everyone's mind? Sounds like a topical mystery novel to me. It's not fantasy. Beatrice exists. Yes, we understand. Beatrice does exist. That's right. Beatrice exists. I hate to admit it, but I've got no choice, because it's obvious that a 19th person, a witch, is involved. Many things happen that would be impossible for humans. Battler's awfully quiet. He's awfully quiet right now. We tried to deny them in all sorts of ways, but now I can say it for sure. Each crime, every single one, would have been impossible for a human. They'd be impossible to carry out unless it was the witch Beatrice using all the power magic could provide. The culprit was a witch. It's perfectly clear. How long lived Beatrice? Everyone believed. I'm so glad. Battler's been real quiet since this witch drop. I can't wait for Battler to drop his diss track. What the hell? But Battler didn't, yeah. Because they're probably in the gold. This is the Golden Land. Probably. And Battler's in any moment now, he's about to be like, that can't be true. I'll prove that witches don't exist. And then he's gonna earn the ire of Beatrice and kick him out. Gods and witches may seem terrifying to people who are frightened of them, but I think they must be affectionate to those who believe and respect them. I think you're right. So this murder case game is finally over. Mods, crush Battler's skull, please. Thank you. Beatrice and her army of demons, also known as her mods. Now's the time to troll ourselves together and try to start to solve the riddle of the epitaph, just like Beatrice said, right?
I agree. Beatrice will definitely be happy.
Everyone ignored that letter during the story. Even though it was thrust right in front of us, we almost completely ignored it. I kind of feel sorry for Beatrice.
I've got the epitaph written down right here. Let's all solve it. Let's solve it.
This story probably ever went wrong ever since that time.
But maybe so. Maybe we should have tried solving the epitaph's riddle from the beginning, like Beatrice said.
Well, it's a little late now. Even so, let's try solving it now and see if the witch forgives us.
Let's go. Let's try to solve the riddle of the epitaph.
It was something that, like, behold the sweet fish ritter running through my beloved hometown. Maria put her notebook on the table and opened to the page where the epitaph was written. Everyone stared at it, getting really into it as they stared, guessing this and that about the riddle. Surrounded by the smell of black tea and freshly baked vanilla cookies, they spent time comfortably and happily. Here we go! Oh, he's opened his fucking mouth. He just doesn't know when to stop. I love this about him. We love a man who is really fucking stupid. You shouldn't piss off the witch in her house. Pause. Pause, everybody. Can we really be truly... Hold a second, but Battler spoke in a way that cut through the conversation. His expression looked a little unhappy. What could he not like about all this fun? I've been listening to you guys for a while, but why did you all stop thinking? Why are you so sure that the witch was behind this? Don't you realize that something like that can't exist? Or just those words, the happy atmosphere resounding the tea party evaporated in an instant. George and Jessica, and Shannon and Cannon, and Maria, all of them stared blankly, wondering what the world Battler was talking about. Even the foolish, arrogant Battler realized that he hadn't chosen his words well. Because, isn't it clear that these crimes were impossible for a human? That's right. None of these cases could have been possible for a human. That's true. After all, wasn't this full of things that humans couldn't explain? I don't understand what you're saying, Battler. I'm off my goat, narrator. The foolish, arrogant Battler. That fucking idiot. That's because Beatrice is the narrator. She's like, ugh, this fucking guy. I'm the one who doesn't have a clue what you guys are talking about. Isn't it obvious that humans committed these crimes? There's no way something like a witch exists, right? Then, what about when I was killed in the storehouse and something horrible was done to half my face? If the culprit was human, how could they have accomplished it? Well, it's hard to imagine how they did something like that awful. But that was the Rose Garden storehouse, right? I'm sure there were plenty of weird tools in there. Let's say they used some electrical tools like a grinder or electric saw. That's Is the background slightly turning red? Oh my god, is the background changing? That's so cool. Or am I just not notice it? Did I just not notice it early? Then Battler, how do you explain Grandfather's disappearance from the study when it was a closed room? Even though the door was seared, Grandfather just suddenly disappeared, right? We talked about that during the story, too. It's not impossible that Grandfather used some trick to fool the receipt. It's also possible he went out into the window, fell down, and Naku locked the window from the inside. I could think of a bunch of tricks you could use without relying on magic. That makes sense, but... In that case, Battler, how do you explain the way my parents were killed in the guest room? The door was sealed by a lock in the chain. Naturally, the window was sealed too. How do you think a human could have killed my parents? Well, we did have to lead that trick alone during the story. Anyway, there's at least a good chance the culprit had a key, and it was possible to look in through the crack of that door the chain allowed. I know this is a stretch, but it's possible some dice was used through that crack. Like maybe they stuck something through it? Well, even though a door chain is incredibly simple, it's a big factor in setting up a closed room. Still, there's probably some closed room trick they could have used. If you bought some closed room mystery novels in that bookstore, you'd probably find some trick that fit perfectly. Anyway, I can't think of one now, but I claim that there's nothing humans can't do if they try hard enough. Is that not argument horribly irrational? It's just ridiculous to claim that it's impossible for a human to do something, even though you can't explain how. Why is that ridiculous? Why did all of you stop thinking? Isn't something that looks impossible has been doable? Doesn't it always work like that? Battler, you're the one being ridiculous. If you think a human could have done it, try explaining how you can't. Can you? And you're okay with saying the culprit is a witch just because I can't explain it? With that argument, all the unsolved crimes in the world could be resolved by saying a witch is the culprit.
Battler, you're sidestepping the issue, and you aren't explaining anything. We're saying a human couldn't have done it. Therefore, a culprit is something that isn't human. And that something is a witch. Yet you keep arbitrarily deciding that witches are impossible, even though you can't explain anything. It's almost like humanity was during the Dark Ages. Like those fools who claimed the heavens spun around the earth, or who said the earth couldn't be spinning, even though they couldn't explain why. That kind of argument kind of pisses me off. So this is basically what you're trying to say. If I can't explain how a human could do it, then I must accept that the culprit is a witch? It's not like we're forcing you to go that far. We are just wondering on what basis you can say such nonsense. Nonsense? Hey, have I been really saying something that weird just now? Am I the one who's crazy? You guys are really starting to freak me out. Battler, when I died in the boiler room, I was killed by a 19th person who shouldn't exist. Can you explain how a human could have done that? At that time, the locations of all 18 were well known. Even so, I was killed. We talked about it in the story as well, right? Kumasawa, for example. She said she followed right after you and headed down to the boiler room, but we can't know for sure whether that was a lie or not. For all we know, she might have entered the boiler room with you and caught you by surprise. Or maybe when you stepped into the boiler room, you activated some kind of trap, one that had been set up to hit you with one of those ice picks. After all, the stink of Grandfather's body was coming from the incinerator. Someone was bound to go and check, so if the culprit set up a trap beforehand, they could have easily strayed away from that place and used the time of Cannon's death to create an alibi. You talk about a trap in the boiler room, but what kind of trap could that be? Yeah, I assumed that it was going to go this way. Because I kind of vaguely know a little bit about the visual novel, and I know about the after parties. Like a little bit. Like, I knew a little bit, but I didn't realize, I thought that they were just like part of the chapter. I didn't realize that they were like their own sub-chapters, if that makes sense. So this is just crazy. Crazy, insane talk. That's right. Following his death, everyone immediately ran over to the boiler room, but we didn't find any kind of weird device, did we? That's correct. Battler, what kind of trap could I have been killed with? Well, I don't know that. But anyway, they must have used some kind of troubler trap, or maybe someone's lying. Or what about this? Cannon, what if the whole thing was just you play acting? That's it. You were play acting. And Ava and Uncle Hideyoshi also play acting. They made the closed room the cells and were only pretending to be dead. Battler, has your head been, feeling okay? Should I bring some cold drinks? Don't look at me with those pitying eyes. I'm not saying something that crazy, right? I'm just pointing out some possibilities you might find if you think of it all as a trick. Look, isn't it a pretty classic trick in mystery stories to have one of the victims just be playing dead? A classic trick? In other words, when Cannon was killed, we knew for sure where all the rest of us were. And let's assume Kumasawa wasn't lying. That's only counting the survivors. What if the culprit pretended to be dead and joined a group of real victims so we'd lose track of them and acted on their own later? Everything would be explained. Huh? So are you trying to say that Aunt Ava or one of the others was the culprit? But didn't Dr. Nanjo confirm all of their deaths as a doctor? That's right. Dr. Nanjo checked on all of the victims. Battler, for your theory to work, wouldn't Dr. Nanjo have been one of the culprits too? Yeah, that's right. Once you consider that Dr. Nanjo might have been one of the culprits and faked the proclamation of death, the whole story changes. See, that's also a classic trick in mystery novels, isn't it? But Dr. Nanjo was also killed, right? About that. That's right, Dr. Nanjo faked his death. After all, there wasn't anyone except Dr. Nanjo who could examine corpses properly, and everyone was really confused then anyway. We didn't really have spare time to check and see if he was still at a pulse. With this theory, any one of the dead people could have been walking around. I think it would have been hard for the 6 of us who died in the beginning to do that. After all, the shutter was closed and there was a padlock that couldn't have been opened from the inside. That's right. Mom was holding on to that key. So was Mom one of the culprits too? Wait a sec. Maybe it was impossible for the first 6. But in the case of Anaki's parents, the door was only locked on the outside. So they could have opened it from the inside. That's right. After we left the room, maybe they jumped out the window and got to the boiler room first.
Isn't that too much of a stretch? Or maybe Dr. Nanjo made a mistake when examining the corpses? Look, he said it himself, right? He said there's a very high probability of making a mistake when examining corpses. Let him cook? Let him cook? He's cooking? I'm okay. I'm smelling the food cooking aromas. Leave a method or trick they use for later, and you see it's not hard to deny a 19th person existed, right? Much less a witch. That's completely impossible. I don't know why you're trying to say so stubbornly that one of us is the culprit. In other words, you want to suspect one of your relatives? That's not it. It's just I can't easily accept that a 19th person existence. And even if one did, I think we should construct our argument from the point of view of that the culprit was a human. I'll only accept that it's a witch in desperation at the very end after everything else has been disproved. There's no way witches exist. Why has everyone been casually accepting that the culprit was a witch? I think it's great how our family love makes you hate the thought that someone close to you is a murderer, but it's okay to let that fool you? Don't you want to find the detestable culprit who killed so many people? And don't you want to avenge your parents? Don't you want to avenge Kennen, and Kennen, don't you want to avenge Shannon? Shannon, you should at least want to know what it was that killed you. Why has everyone totally surrendered and decided the culprit was a witch? What's wrong with all of you? The foolish and short-tempered battler tried to force his ignorance on the others and yelled at them. However, everyone just looked at him pityingly, silently watching over him. At that time, the wise Maria laughed and pointed out Battler's mistake. Uh-oh.
I'm shocked. All I see is you repeating this nonsense, thinking you figured something out, Battler. So, what's next? How would a human do it? In practical terms, I mean. I imagine you'll say, I just can't think of anything now, with some kind of device, using abstract words to run away and evade the topic. What I really want to know is, Battler, is this. Why don't you believe in Beatrice? She exists, so why don't you believe? Because she doesn't exist. Witches don't exist. There's no way. It was almost like a spoiled child who doesn't want to accept something. The pitying gazes quietly closed in around Battler, but they didn't reach his stubborn heart. You realize you're acting just like a spoiled brat throwing a tantrum, right?
Battler, I understand your feelings, but Beatrice does exist.
Battler, why don't you believe, even though there's so much proof? I don't accept an argument that the witch must have been behind everything just because I can't explain it. Does that mean if you don't know how a light bulb shines, then the magic is a cause? What's wrong, isn't it? There's nothing that can't be explained without magic. All of this about witches and magic is just an abdication of thought. You just surrendered and gave up because you don't understand what happened. Isn't that right?
Well, unsurprisingly, it looks like you alone won't believe no matter what, Battler. Even if a single person doesn't believe, the miracle won't occur. So, if you don't rethink your ignorant theories, the miracle won't happen.
And now I see. I finally figured it out. So, in other words, you guys are trying to force me to say that the witch exists, right? A lie that everyone accepts and becomes the truth. Is that what this is all about? I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I keep going on about this, but what you're doing is useless. I refuse. You guys are all pressing me, and that's why it's all useless.
Why?
Sorry, but why don't you let me spin the chessboard around last time? If you want to force me to accept that there's a witch, there's a really easy way. And it's not the indirect way of saying it must be a witch because humans couldn't have done it. All you have to do is show me a witch doing it with magic. Furthermore, what Maria said earlier is what will really dig her grave. You said that even one person doesn't believe a miracle won't occur. Real miracles happen whether people believe in them or not. Even if I alone don't believe. So any miracles or magic that witches exist only because I believe in them are downright lies. Oh. Probably pissed her off. The uneasy mood following Battler's inordinate rant was blown away by a very soft and light laugh. Whose laugh? Oh my god, it's her! Battler was surprised. He'd never heard that voice before. When he looked at George and Jessica, at Shannon, Ken, and Maria, he noticed they'd suddenly gone respectfully silent. Beatrice has entered the chat. Oh god, what kind of voice should we use for Beatrice? Oh God, I'll figure it out as she shows up more. I'll probably figure it out.
Beatrice.
How amusing. I haven't met such a charming human for quite some time.
Who are you?
Don't you even know the host of the tea party you were invited to? How amusing indeed.
This is Beatrice, the Golden Witch who has lived for 1,000 years.
It's an honor to be graced with your presence, Beatrice.
Please forgive Battler Kud's ranting. This guy's just stubborn. He still doesn't understand the situation he's in.
What a treat this is. Most witches get tired of living after the first 1,000 years. How nice it is to meet a witch with a backbone such as yourself every once in a while.
It's quite an honor to be present when Beatrice shows herself, Battler.
How astonishing. Are you really that desperate to make me believe that a 19th person is the culprit? This is starting to get interesting. And it's all useless. You must be the illusion that Marie and the others call the witch, Beatrice. And you'll only be allowed to exist if everyone believes it. You have that kind of half-existence, right? That's why you want to make me believe too. You can't exist because I alone don't believe in you. Isn't that right?
Your powers of comprehension aren't bad for a mere commoner who knows nothing of magic. Yes, it seems you are born with a strong magic-resisting power. You're a natural enemy of us witches. No matter how much we turn your world upside down, you never believe in us. Therefore, the magic won't succeed. Accept that attitude of yours.
You've got no clue what you're saying. It's very kind of you to go through all the trouble of showing yourself to us, but I don't believe you exist in the slightest. It's true that many strange things happened during those 2 days. Like Maria said earlier, even though I think all the tricks could be explained, I still can't lay out the practical details of each one. However, that doesn't mean I'll still surrender. I'm different from the rest of them. Got it? I'll never accept that it was the work of a witch just because I can't explain it.
This keeps getting more amusing. Making sure you surrender will be worth my while.
He's built different, chat. Guys, he's built different.
You're just the kind of man I love to force into praising my name. I'd love to try making a man like you kiss my toes.
Hello? This woman's crazy. I'm in love with her. If you want to talk nonsense, talk all you want. I deny you exist. I'll explain all of these events with humans and tricks. There's no room for even a speck of magic or witches.
Wonderful! What a perfect way to divert oneself from 1,000 years of boredom. I might ask you. A short while ago, you were said using that crack in the door would be sufficient to kill Ape and Hideyoshi, right? Explain how they could have been killed using some human trick.
Suddenly jump right into the toughest part, are you? Does that mean this is the trick you're proudest of? Miss Real Culprit.
With a shake of her golden pipe, gentle multicolored smoke trailed out of the end. The smoke quickly obscured their surroundings. They were suddenly in the hallway of the mansion.
Was a ficus and she made people kiss toes. She already does that!
The door in front of them, slightly opened but secured by the chain, was... That's right, it's the door to the room where Ava and Hideyoshi were killed. Nice trick. Very well. Show me what you would do through this small crack, Battler.
They probably had some device to shoot those ice picks. If they'd used that,
how would they reach Ava over in the bed when you could see that right far through this can't far through this Ugh. And how would they reach Hideyoshi in the bathroom with the door shut? Damn, there's a crack. There should be some way. If you can't think of one, allow me.
Oh? How could a witch do it? Come on, let's see your little trick.
Battler, you're being rude.
How nice, how nice. What a charming man. That will make it even more fun to force him into submission.
You really want to make me kiss your toes that much? Only if I surrender. But watch, I'll definitely expose this trick and I'll make you kiss my ass instead. Holy shit, let's go.
What a delightful man. I'll remember that promise. Weak witches kiss the behinds of demons to gain power. They're flirting! Stop flirting! This is not the time! Aren't you supposed to be solving mysteries? Battler's like, I don't think you exist. And Beatrice is like, oh my god, really? You don't think I exist? Twirls hair. Then prove it, idiot! Butler, what if I do both? No! Because there's no more humiliating oath. Just being told that makes me want to force you into surrender. Paying no mind to Battler's worthless ranting, Beatrice once again shook the golden pipe. That's right, that golden pipe was her precious magic cane. Come arise, children. I'm the guide of purgatory. Forgive the deadly sins and hold the 7 stakes. Guided by those magic words, which sounded like a command, the 7 stakes gathered. They were the sticks of the 7 demons, symbolizing the deadly sins of sinful people. Beelzebub and Asmodeus, come forgive the sins. Release the spirits of the sinners. What? The picks of Beelzebub and Asmodeus responded to Beatrice's call. The 2 stakes of demons were sucked in through the crack of the door, like billiard balls struck by a cue stick. The several scattered noises refracted through the wall, making it sound like a woodpecker. In the end, a pleasant sound could be heard. It was a small, satisfying sound, like one heard when someone's chopping firewood and the falling axe sneakily slices through the wood. It was the sound of the 2 picks burying themselves in deep into Even Hideyoshi's foreheads. Right down the middle. Wanna see? I definitely heard 2 sounds and a pair of foreheads being split open. Butler wasn't permitted to see it since he was on the other side of the door, but those 2 had died again. And the second time, they lay an inch apart from where they'd lain last time, with the exact same blood sprays behind. You moron. That's insane. You think you can just kill them like that? I can kill them. I can kill them just like this. Suddenly they were no longer in the hall, but seated at the tea party they started from. Everyone but Battler was sitting meekly, but Cannon was moaning, flesh blood dangling from his mouth. What a rude thing to do at a tea party. Satan's stake was buried deep into Cannon's chest. Cannon! Cannon? Damn it. Battler was the only one getting agitated. George, Jessica, Shannon, everyone else was meekly hanging their heads like students being yelled at by their teacher. Cannon was captivated by a trifling anger and tried to disturb my banquet. Being easily captivated by anger is your deadly sin. Cleanse yourself, repent, and do over. At Rice Summer. Beatrice-sama, please forgive him. I think Cannon has repented enough. Wonderful. I am generous to those who respect me. Don't screw with me. Do you think I'll accept your existence because of this cheap act? Like hell, you're a 1,000-year-old witch. Your tricks aren't 1,000 years old. They're just the sum of a century of classic tricks from the mystery genre. There's no such thing as magic. Definitely not. All of the crimes can be explained with humans and tricks. That would explain my 1,000 years with 100 years of humans? Good, good. That's precisely why I've taken a liking to you. Foolish Battler. Cut it out, Battler. You can't go against the witch. Shannon started moaning, holding her cheek. Maybe she had a toothache, but apparently it wasn't a toothache after all. A slight redness started across her cheek that Shannon was holding. It looked like that redness was causing Shannon unbearable pain. Her fingers were pressing against her cheek, and the drops of sweat appeared all over her body. Shannon? Shannon! Hang in there, please. What's going on? Damn it, what the hell is that red stuff? Expanded rapidly, covering half of Shannon's face. Good, good. I misread Shannon's good as good girl and nearly blacked out. That's so real. Stupid dense Battler finally realized. Please, Battler, please believe in Beatrice, I beg you. Because you won't believe, because you believe. The magic is dissolving. For the first time in his life, Battler heard that sound, like a pomegranate splitting. The red splay even landed on Battler's face. Poor Shannon's face had been split in half, and her last horrible moments in that storehouse were repeated once again. Shannon.
damn it. Stop it. Don't humiliate the dead. Don't humiliate them. This time, the redness spread around Gordon's entire body. It was like the beautiful cloud drawn by milk when it's poured into black tea. It spread out and extended across his entire body. As it did, it seemed to give George increasingly greater pain. Looking at this bizarre spectacle, Battler was petrified as he frantically thought about this pitifully clumsy imagination, about the structure of this strange death that George and the rest were experiencing. Eventually, that redness reached the nearby Jessica as well. Stop it! What did Aniki do? What did Jessica do? Just stop it!
Battler, don't let the witch break your spirit. Deny her, erase her. As long as at least one person denies her, she's an illusion that can't exist.
Are you okay, Jessica? Oh, Aniki! George was no longer recognizable as a human. He looked like the pile of leftover meat after the good, delicious meat that had been scraped off to be cooked. The only thing that even resembled a human was the shape of his lower jaw and rib cage. It was clear that Jessica was covered with a suddenly saving redness, was approaching the same face.
Battler, quickly, believe in Beatrice. If you don't, everyone's magic will dissolve.
Mary, it's all over your body, too.
I revive all the dead with my magic, but as long as you don't believe, the magic will hold no true power. But I'm sure that a man like yourself won't surrender to something like this, right?
Battler, we didn't want to doubt our friends. We faced reality and gave in to the witch. But Battler, you won't give in to the witch.
Jessica! Poor Jessica met the same end. Just like George, she ended up like a butcher's leftovers. George and Jessica were now destroyed, melted and mixed up. It was impossible to tell them apart.
Battler, don't cry. Beatrice will restore the dead over and over. Nothing to be sad about. So even if we die, we'll just be fine.
The redness began eating in the whole of Maria's body. The foolish Battler watched and screamed. She's just fucking eviscerating them in front of Battler to prove a point. I won't forgive you, and I'll never forgive you. A witch? Magic? I'll risk my body and soul to deny you. No matter what happens, I can't accept you. Now that you've gone so far to piss me off, I'll never forgive you. I won't forgive, and I definitely won't forgive you. You'll regret making me, Ushirimiya Battler, your enemy. I'll deny you no matter what. No matter how baffling things get, it can be all explained by humans. I'll erase every cell of you from this world.
Well said. Battler, was it? That's just the thing to divert me from my 1,000 years of boredom. Come explain. Try explaining it all with humans and tricks.
Next, learn how lowly humans are. Let's see what humanity has built up in 100 years can oppose my 1,000. That's what it'll make forcing you to submit so pleasant.
So tell me, who do you call yourself? You who call yourself Battler. What about Maria's letter? How were the 6 killed? The shutter? The receipt seal? The closed room with the chain? Kennen in the boiler room, Genji and the others in the lounge, Natsuhi's suicide, the riddle of the epitaph, the location of the hidden gold. Yes, Battler, why don't you show me the power of humans?
God! Wow! I got like chills. Holy shit! Woo! I love her. That's a start. Learning that like the entire first chapter is just the prologue. And the real game is about to start. Is like so... Whew. Song really ties the bow on the scene. Yeah! Oh my god, the OST of this game is so good. Like, so good. It fits it everything. Like, the music fits. It's good. Like, I feel like people don't consider sound design as much when, like, designing games, but, like, I feel like sound design is, like, the most important thing. It's, like, about the immersion, right? It's a sound novel! Yeah! Also, I feel like I know that this has like a I know that this has had I know that versions of Umineko have the voice count the voice. I know parts of the I know like certain versions of the game have voice acting, but I feel like the lack of voice acting and me just reading it all out really adds to the ambiance, you know? Okay, there's even more extras now. Is this also needed? The voice actors do a really good job, but reading out loud is great too. Okay. We'll keep going. Fuck my sleep schedule. This is 10 to 15 minutes? Okay, that's fine. Perfect, perfect. After that, we can wrap up for the day. I'll have to figure out what to do tomorrow then, because we finished chapter 1, and I don't want to like start chapter 2 and then go on vacation. Because I'm just gonna be thinking about it. What sort of black tea shall I prepare next? Allow me to display every refined tea that ever was and ever shall be. Yeah, there she is, baby! It's fucking Burn, baby!
Dried plum black tea. The kind that goes for 200 yen a pack. For 1,000 years I've been fond of black tea, but I didn't know of such a thing. I'll never tire of living in this world. Burn, baby, burn. Bito, you don't have to display such hostility. I'm just a wandering witch. I didn't come with the intention of violating the rules of your territory. Hostility? I bear nothing of the sort. I'm just terribly concerned with seeing to it that the legendary witch being Lady Burncastle is well and attended to. You misunderstand. I'm powerless. Before a witch such as you, who possesses the dreadful power to kill an individual 100 times, I am completely powerless. What a powerless weighty witch possesses a power that none can approach is what's truly terrifying. After all, that great witch, Lady Lambda Delta, was dethroned by you alone. I only won an endurance contest. Or sorry, that's Burn's line, sorry. I only won an endurance contest. She simply got tired. That's not what Lady Lambda Delta said, though. Too much humility can be unseemly, Lady Burncastle. That girl has a dreadful power, the power to kill an individual without fail. However, without fail doesn't exist in this world. No matter how many times you divide 1, you can never reach 0. That girl has the power to bring the odds of failure down to almost exactly 0, the power to give rise to almost perfect certainty. I hope I never have to fight such a terrifying witch again. I do know about the stuff with Lambda and Burn. I do know Lambda and Burn's backstory. I know their games, their tricks. However, you have the power to cause success without fail, as long as the odds are not 0. Though you say without fail doesn't exist in this world, you possess an infallible power yourself. How very terrifying. The power to kill an individual endlessly. I think you're the more terrifying one. You jest. From your point of view, mine is but a trifling power. This is most certainly what one would call empty praise. Call it flattery to make up for the cost of staying here. I'm a fleeing traveler who crosses the fragments, continually running from boredom. I simply came around because I heard of you'd started something interesting. Have no doubts that I'll choose to leave as soon as you're no longer interesting. Beatrice, I'm humbly and deeply delighted to have the great Lady Burncastle as an observer. Since so, your impressions? Lambda Delta is terrifying because of her cruelty, but she's a girl I can understand.
Oh, I do? Execute resurrect. What? What? But she's a girl I can understand. You do seem to be capable of affection, but I can't understand you at all. That makes you so much more terrifying than her. Press the funny button, see what happens? Oh. Oh, it's like an extra bit. By constantly continue to think, I will live forever. In other words, if I were to stop thinking, I could die at any time. However, once I start thinking again, I can also revive at any time. That's why I'm fickle and whimsical. I live as I please, die as I please, and revive as I please. What a useless dream to try and kill me despite being a mere human. Fire your bullets and they will merely reflect back to you towards the light, like the light of a mirror. However, there does exist one way to kill me. You hold that method in the palm of your hand, though I doubt one as mediocre as you could ever pull it off. Interesting. So normally those buttons are viewing for descriptions of characters before and after death. Oh, yeah. I am fickle by nature. Do forgive me. Besides, I believe you also enjoy entrusting your fate to the roll of the fickle dice. Right, Lady Bencasta? When I roll the dice, I have a roll I clearly want to get. Unlike you. You, on the other hand, never let the dice fall from your hand. So whatever the roll might have been, you never disappointed. Whatever roll of the dice show you, you're satisfied without fail. And in that sense, you far surpass me. Burn is Schrodinger. She is a cat, to be fair. It doesn't have her full outfit, but she does have a little cat tail on her outfit. She's a black cat. You're the one I really didn't want to fight with. Inside of you, there's nothing but zero. That's why I can't win against you with my power. It's the worst compatibility. Perhaps Lambda Delta, on the other hand, has a good compatibility against you, since she would be able to kill your endless nature. Oh yes, truly, witches truly are the best people to enjoy black tea with. One doesn't get bored. Then I'm relieved. Boredom is the only poison that can kill me. So don't kill me, okay? Lady Beatrice, Endless Witch. If such is your wish, I, Beatrice, shall show you an even better time. In that case, wouldn't it be best if I brought the next chessboard in right away? It seems like the next tale would do more for you than another cup of black tea. Just wait for a moment. Something troublesome seems to have taken a liking to you. I'd really like to lend you my power, but as you just heard, that girl's power and mine have a very bad compatibility. Unfortunate as they may be. But you really are pitiful, so I'll help you out just a bit. First of all, about that girl. She does have the name Beatrice, but that doesn't necessarily mean she is one individual woman. It's a title. It's a fucking title. In other words, she's not some human. Her existence is a personification of the rules of this world. To beat her, you have to expose the rules of this world and unravel them. Perhaps this can be likened to learning the rules of chess by watching a game.
First, take a good look at the chessboard, then learn the movement and roles of the pieces. Then, for the conditions required to win the game, then you've managed to reveal all these things, your heart will be exposed. After that, you can rip it apart or crush it as you please. I am being quite generous. In the past, when I had a human body, it took me 100 years to even notice this much. This is my meager farewell gift to you, the pitiful one captured by Bito. It's just like a spoon. A spoon can be used for much more than just drinking soup. You can use it to dig through that prison you're locked in, or as a weapon to gouge the wicked witch's eyes out. Of course, you can also use the spoon to continually sip the watery soup inside of your eternal cell. Don't get the wrong idea, I have no intention of becoming your ally. I do feel empathy for you, but I won't help you. It's like I'm sitting in front of the television yelling at you from the other side, even though my voice won't reach you. So, you understand that I am a witch, right? I intend to enjoy this endless tale that Bito is going to weave until I tire of it. But that alone won't hold my interest. That's why I'll lend you my power. It's also why I don't get tired of this. I am the cruelest witch in the world. Whoever the opponent may be, I'll make them surrender with certainty. Even if it's Beatrice, the Endless Witch, okay? You're my game piece. Give it your best shot. I'll give you advice sometimes, out of her sight. Don't bore me, okay?
I suppose I could help you since you're kind of a loser.
Is she... The thing with that is she talking... I don't think she's talking to Battler.
She's talking to us, the player, I'm pretty sure. A new edition of the new game board has on the next episode lock has been removed. You can find the new features on the title screen.
More new features? What?
How many new features are there going to be? Is it just the second chapter? Oh. Oh. Tips. Okay, so it's just the tips for each one.
The title changed, you guys! Because we're on chapter 2 now. Guys, we finished chapter 1! I'm so excited.
I'm like thinking about it. I'm gonna be thinking about this for so long. Oh my god, Beatrice. It was so worth the wait. She's so... Oh my god. Hi. Hi. Beatrice. Hi. I would simply lose to the witch because I would accept her immediately.
Why are all the women in this, like, kind of baddies? I'm gonna make myself bigger on the screen. All the women in this game are, like, baddie as hell. I'm like, Ava, bad as hell. Except maybe Rosa, but we haven't really gotten into Rosa's fucking deal, so... Because she died instantly. Kyrie, awesome. We fucking love Kyrie, I think. My chapter 1 thoughts. Well, let's sum up my chapter 1 thoughts. Women! But in other words, all the women of Umineko are so fucking cool, and then all the men are like the most pathetic, sopping, wet cats I've ever seen. I love this. I love this game. I'm like so excited. I'm so sad I won't be here next Thursday for book club. I'm so sad we're gonna not have Umineko next week. Because I'm gonna be out of town. I'm gonna be... Oh, wait. Kyrie is your favorite of the MILFs? That's fair. That's fair. I think it's really, really close between Natsuki and Eva. You'll just suffer. Yeah. I'm gonna be thinking about
Beatrice forever. I'm just like, I'm obsessed with the fact that she saw, like, Battler and she was like, oh my god. Curls hair. Hi. The baddest bitch of witchdom just challenged a sopping wet cat to a game of chess. That's true. Except, you know, when cats get put in water, they start just screaming a lot. That's Battler. He's a screaming, sopping wet cat. You're so funny. You're so... Beatrice voice, you're so funny. I like that. Beatrice voice, you're stupid. I like that in a man. I love women. She's so I wasn't expecting... I forgot how flirtatious she is. I hate your guts and that makes you interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Because she hates people who don't praise her and accept her existence, but at the same time she's bored of her existence. I assume she's like kind of bored because she keeps talking about boredom. So apparently, read mystery novels, telling me more over tea. She's super bored. Yeah, she does these games for fun and profit. 1,000 years, you run out of things to do. That's true. But the human spirit is so ingenuous. They're always inventing shit. Beatrice, maybe if you weren't so obsessed with killing people in Western murder mansions, you could get into mystery manga or something. She should stream. I think that she should stream. Beatrice should become a VTuber because then she'd be so good. She's already got the condescending attitude. And a god complex. That's all you need to be a VTuber. God. Oh, I'm so... So my favorite part of the mystery novel, like mystery stuff, is like when they actually explain what happened after the fact. So like, you know, like the ends of like Conan episodes where he breaks down all the murder stuff. And they're like, this is how it was done. I guarantee it. But like, the entire second chapter is going to be just theory crafting on Battler's part. I'm so excited about it. I'm actually so excited. Like, oh. Beatrice Gangsta Columbo hits her with that one more thing. Oh, Columbo, Beatrice's mortal enemy. No. See, the Rockenjima massacre wouldn't have happened if Columbo was on the scene. But before we wrap up for the night, what do you guys think? For the new people, do we have any theories on how our previous deaths happened? Because I feel like a really key thing is I think Beatrice punched them really hard. That's true. Because like if you're thinking about it logically, the most suspicious part of the whole thing is the 6 dead bodies. Chain lock is pretty weak for a locked room. Yeah, there are ways to like do that without. There are ways to like use like there has to be a way to do that without people actually like, cuz it's an old Western styled mansion. Like there's gonna be some flaws in the construction. Also, like, I don't know. I wish I had a floor plan of the Ushiromiya mansion. I wish I had a floor plan. I would be theory crafting like crazy about that locked room because I feel like there's something to do with the other... If we're thinking about it logically, the most common thing would be like if the murder was in the room next door and there was like a secret hole in the wall and they had like a crossbow and just shot. But they can't guarantee a hit that way. But how would they know? How would they know exactly where Hideyoshi and Eva were? Because Hideyoshi was in the bathroom, and then Eva was in the bed. Because Eva, like, obviously they'd go into the bed to go to sleep eventually. So eventually, they would end up on that bed. That's an absolute certainty. So, if they had a, like, something kind of... The grandfather getting out of this room without disturbing the paper to suggest there's more than the house, that's obvious. It's true. They haven't even taken the house into consideration. The servants are probably in on it. I'll be completely honest with you. The servants are probably in on it. Even though they say they're not in on it, they're probably in on it. Or at least Genji. Or at least... You know who is probably... It's probably... It might be Nanjo's fault. Because, like, I feel like Nanjo was, like, suspiciously quiet for the entirety of it. Hidden doors on the floor kind of deal. I don't think the younger servants were involved at all. I don't think the younger servants were involved at all. I think that Shannon died because she was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And the same with, what's his name? Goda? Goda also died because he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Because, like, obviously, just looking at alibis, the group of 6 murders had to have been... should have been the only people who are actually, like, who would have actually been, like, capable of killing them, because I don't think it's any of the kids, genuinely. I don't have any suspicions on the kids right now. I think they're fine. I don't think that they would murder anyone, but the adults, they got some skeletons, so even if they aren't in on it, they're willing to die. That's probably a feeling. The thing is, it's just like Kanan and Shannon have stuff to lose, while the others really don't. So, yeah, like, I think that Goda and Shannon were just victims of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. And they made it, they probably painted on the door to make sure, to, like, excuse... Okay, so my theory. Something happened in the room with the 6. Not like the actual 6, but the... So, that would be Kraus, Kyrie, Rudolph, Rosa... Who am I missing? Yes, those 4. Probably something happened with those 4 and Eva and Hideyoshi, because they said they went to bed, but I don't believe it. Honestly, I think that something happened in that room, and most of them ended up dead. I think that... Honestly, I do think that Eva and Hideyoshi killed them. I do think that they killed them. I do think that they killed them and they killed Goda and Shannon to keep them quiet. They know something that couldn't be revealed, the servants? Yeah. They do have a lot to gain from that. They said it themselves that Eva has the most to gain from killing people. But it just doesn't... They don't seem the types to, like, actively murder people. You know what I mean? Because, like, Eva and Hideyoshi are pretty... how would I describe Eva? More Ava more so than Hideyoshi. Ava is cunning. She's really fucking smart. And she's got a sharp brain. Her brain's good. But I don't think that she would kill them like that. I don't think that she would do that. I would think they'd poison them instead of brutal attacks. Yeah, there was talks of poison in when we were talking about it. When those murders were when they were still talking about those murders before Ava and Hideyoshi died, there were talks about poison in the food. So none of them ate poisoned food. So they could have eaten poisoned food and then been mutilated. Oh, actually, because they could have been poisoned. Okay. So let's go back. Let's go down the poison theory. So the poison theory and why the bodies were mangled is the main thing. Because if they were poisoned, there was no need for them to be mangled, right? But let's think about why they needed to be mangled. That was because of Goda and Shannon. And also to make it look like a murder scene, right? To look like some awful cultic activities were happening. Cause let's see. So, let's say the 4 of those people, the 4 of the 6 that were in the storehouse were poisoned, right? Poisoning sort of sucks for the person in question, so it leaves a lot of time to be discovered in the process. Transporting bodies isn't an easy task. Yeah, there's also the fact that there was blood in the actual storage room. In the actual, like, dining hall where they were all hanging out prior. So that the murder scene is in that room. However, we have no way to guarantee whose blood was there. Because it could have been one person's blood. It could have been 2 persons' blood. So here's my theory. And this will also explain the blood in the room. And also that. So the 6 siblings and their partners are in the hall. So they're in the 6 siblings and minus Natsuhi. We're all in the dining room chatting. Something awful has happened. Something bad happens. Because we know that Kraus already knows that the gold exists. Kraus knows that the gold exists. He has that upper hand. The other siblings are gonna try anything to get away from Kraus. What? Part of me is like, maybe... I don't know the specifics. We're not gonna go into the specifics because I don't think... Oh god. Because I have a theory, but it's just like, I have no legs to stand on for this. So I'll probably have to start chapter 2 to figure it out. But so they poison the food, so they're all arguing, and they're getting brought like snacks and tea, right? By the servants, by Goda, and by Shannon, who was not supposed to be there in the first place. But is the question. Something awful happens. Ava and Co. They poison all of the other siblings. Eva and Hideyoshi poison the siblings. Say they do that. But they have to transport the bodies to the cellar. And for that, they need the servant's key to do that. So they have to go to the servant's key to get that from them. But then the servants will know that they've gotten there. So they have to get rid of all of the servants in the house that night. So they have to get rid of Goda. That's one. So that explains why Goda was killed. Shannon probably stumbled upon... So they probably called Goda to the room and just killed him there. And then Shannon, who wasn't supposed to be there, who was patrolling the manor, probably stumbled upon the scene and was also killed there. That explains, like, the blood. It could have been an impromptu weapon. We don't know how it was done. But I don't know how it was done, but it seems like a plausible situation, right? And then they move all the bodies to the storehouse. But since they were killed since Shannon and Goda were killed in a different way than the rest of the family, they're like, oh shit, they're gonna realize something has happened. And they're gonna be like, oh, the servant saw something they shouldn't have. Because if they see that the servants are battered and bruised and, like, really brutally killed, then they see all the other bodies are fine, they're gonna realize that something has gone wrong. And that there's human error in that. So they go into the garden, they transport all the bodies to the shed, and they just go to town with the tools inside. That's my theory, at least. And that's why everyone's so mutilated, is because they're not trying to hide the cause of death. They're trying to they're trying to make it look as if every single cause of death was the same. That's my theory, at least. I wonder why 2 weren't fully mutilated? Oh, right. Well, there were 2 that weren't, like, that were, like, half their face was left, right? Yeah. Because that was, like... What, that was, like, Shannon? Or was that Shannon and Kraus? It was a strange... Oh, I can check the tips. Oh my god, you're right. The tips that we just unlocked. The side of his head was smashed. Side of head was smashed. Face has been smashed. Face has been smashed. Face has been smashed. Why were these 2 left intact? Is the question. I suppose it would make sense for them to leave Kraus's face intact so they know so people can tell that it's Kraus, because it also sends a message to Natsuhi. But why send a message to Natsuhi specifically? So, if we think about the people who are doing this, right? We think about Eva and we think about Hideyoshi. So she has a grudge against Natsuhi. Her and Natsuhi have beef for no fucking reason. It's a very toxic Yuri situation. But the thing is, why would they leave if they're trying to, like, do that, it would make sense for them to actually, like... It doesn't make sense.
Now you're the only one for me, Natsuki.
That's right, she killed it. She killed Kraus. She was after his wife, not his fortune. Very queen behavior from Ava today. But the fact that it's probably Ava and Hideyoshi who did the killing probably means that the next maybe a popular and an aspect that was certain similar point that was explained another thing. Maybe a popular method was introducing it down that induces madness. I have reason to believe it's not the case here. Because that could be many things. It's just there's so many variables in that, you know? But why would they all be mutilated in the exact same way? They're all mutilated in the exact same way. You can't get that sort of consistency if everyone's just going mad, swinging at each other. Right? Like, that's not something that happens, right? And if everyone is going mad, everyone's heads were smashed. No other wounds. Oh, yeah, there were no other wounds. No more external wounds. I wonder if they got tired by the time they got to Shannon and Kraus. That would make sense, I think. Like, that is a reasonable thing. But it's also because Ava doesn't approve of Shannon. Because even though I'm pretty sure Ava knows that she has a crush on, that George is super, super in love with Shannon. I'm pretty sure that she does not approve. She mentioned she doesn't approve. I'm wondering if she wanted to send a message, because I feel like Ava is petty enough to send a message. The self-goal with a gun? True. Or they could have just felt bad for... They could have just felt bad for Shannon and not wanted to crush her fucking skull. And left Kraus as an example. I don't know. The motives are really unclear. I do know that Ava and Hideyoshi are not... Yeah, exactly. It has to be symbolic in some way, right? Like, it means something. But we'll find the answer later. The answer will be revealed in time. It's just strange. The whole thing with that first trial is strange. But okay, ignoring the half-face parts, but these two have the biggest alibi. They have the weakest alibi, and they have the most... They, A, have a really weak alibi, and B, they have a really, really strong motive for doing it. But... they were still killed. Right? You know who has a grudge against both of them? Natsuhi. But if that's the case, nothing more lesbian than a duel to the death. That's true. But that would be rough for 5 to 7. I don't think after a certain point, because I think that the first death couldn't have been madness induced. Okay, if we're gonna think about like frenzy, like what's the actual term? Mass hysteria. So that would be like mass hysteria, right? Criminal Spoda raid. Hi Kai, thank you for the raid. Welcome in. We got hi Perry, hi Ilbers, welcome in. Hi raiders. Oh, thank you, Wolfen. You're in fact still alive? Welcome back to the land of the dead. You should join my book club. Spoodle raid. Hi, we just finished the first. We're actually kind of wrapping up. We're just chatting before we wrap up. But we just finished chapter 1 of Umineko. Pretty cool. Pretty awesome. Oh, fuck yeah, book club. Yes! Yeah, we're reading Umineko. It's awesome. We just finished chapter 1 of 6, and I'm very excited. We're talking about, I closed it because I didn't want to do, like, spoilers or anything. For anyone who is interested in it, I won't spoil it for you guys. But women, the local MILF population is in so much danger because of, Umineko Naku Koro ni. Unfortunately, we live in a society, but yeah, I have a lot of theories surrounding what the hell is going on, but I think that I'm talking vague terms, but I think the last 3 were a case of mass hysteria. We gotta register MILFs as an endangered species. That's true. But yeah, I think that the last 3 were an instance of mass hysteria. And the others, well, the last one that was like, that happened in front of the thing, those who are here will know what I'm talking about, but those who don't have no idea. But I think that it could have been the gun misfiring and a piece of shrapnel. It could have been a piece of shrapnel that just misfired or ricocheted. It could have been just a freak accident. Do you like your truths and lies? I do! Oh, we got to meet Beatrice today. She's so woman of all time. It is a rifle, so that can happen. Yeah, exactly. It's also like a custom-built rifle. Here, I'll show you. Yeah, there's a thing on it. Beatrice, finally. I miss her. She's so... I'm twirling my hair. sawed-off Winchester. Who makes those? Apparently, it's a custom model. They mentioned it. Oh, that's spoilers. Characters. Look at her! Oh, I'm in the way. I'm in the way. I'm in the way. Look at her! Curls my hair, giggles, kicks my feet. That's true. She's so girl boss. She is Miss Gaslight Gatekeep Girl Boss. That's her whole job. We love her for it. I love her. Miss Beatrice, my beloved. Woman! Woo! Giggling and kicking my feet when Beatrice gaslights me. Me! Me when she calls me foolish for not solving her fucking 5D chess with multiverse time travel. The stakes are most likely sourced from Kinzo's study, right? You're right! You're so fucking right! You're so fucking right. Nazi had the chance to take them. She probably took them when she went to Kinzo's study. Because that would be something that he would have in his study, right? I'm sure that... I feel like... I don't know. The last one, the ones in the last batch? Okay, so the last ones I think were an act of mass hysteria. Because everyone had been wound up so much. That's the main thing I can think of. And then Maria being Maria. I don't know. I do think Maria's involved too. I do. I think she's in on it. She's most definitely in on it because she's... But she's also like 9. I don't think she could kill the last string, but she could put the stakes in. That's true. That's true. I think that... However... This is all conjecture. This is all theorizing, as if there's only 18 people on this island and not a 19th person. If there's a 19th person on the island, it flips the whole thing on its head. Because so we're talking as if the 19th person is also a human, not a witch. This is the conjecture. The 19th person is a human, not a witch, and is sneaking around the island. Sneaking about, skulking about the island. That 19th person, Beatrice. As herself, not as a witch. But yeah, that's my thoughts right now. That's my thoughts right now. Cause then, like, she's just sneaking out. She's Snake, solid Snake. But yeah, my voice is starting to get a little rough. But yeah, we are that's kind of my I'm kind of Did the last 3 have the same face damage? Yes, that's the main thing that makes it interesting. figure it out. We're gonna figure it out, but I am gonna find someone to rate because it is 1 a.m. and I have to go to the station in the morning. So we'll get there. You only did, yeah. We'll figure out something else to do tomorrow. Might figure out something else. Self-infliction blunt force trauma is my guess. I don't think they would be that mutilated, right? Like, that wouldn't be... I don't think that is, like, actually a thing. I don't think that's possible. Genuinely. Let's see. Or they collapsed and Maria did post-care. That's true. It could be post. It could be post. Yeah. But it doesn't explain the timeline, though. The timeline of things is a little wonky. I find your clip too specific for Rika from Pokemon. They're just like me, for real, for real. Rika Pokemon, my beloved. Let's see. Who's online? Who up? Let's see. Let's see. Shall we find someone new? Maybe we can find someone new? Maybe so. But yeah, I'm thinking like... It's still like the whole thing, that whole last one was a little odd. But I also feel like the story is a little bit off. I feel like there's something going to be happening. I feel like Beatrice is gonna gaslight me again. Seems very likely. That's what I think of it as well. I could see, like, a group poisoning, and then Maria, in her childlike glee, just mutilates corpses. As much as I wouldn't like that to be real because she's a baby. God forbid a girl has hobbies. God forbid. God forbid women have hobbies in this economy. God forbid women have hobbies. Because Yoko is streaming right now. We could raid into Yoko. That might be easier. Because I'm trying to find someone in like a similar kind of chill vibe. Cultics are a female trait. Men should die and build houses. Beatrice probably mentions iron-filled houses. That's true. That's true. Beatrice said that. That's true. That's a real quote. Very good of her. If it's poisoning, then it would explain the couple's death a lot better, too. Maybe. I think theirs was actually a death. Like, actually a murder. I think theirs was actually a... Since they're already dead, applying the stake... It wouldn't... No. That wouldn't apply. I don't think. If I remember correctly, Hideyoshi was facing down. And then... Eva was facing... up. So it would make sense for Eva, but like... But how'd they get the sticks in the first place? That's exactly right. Because they'd have to find a place... So say the sticks are from... They're... Say... Okay. We'll put it... This is a situation I'm putting out to you. I'm putting you into this situation. So, say you are... You're Natsuhi Ushiramiya. You've just... You've talked to Kinzo Ushiramiya, who's about to go missing. But... Natsuhi's whereabouts are really the key to all of this. Is the short answer, if that makes sense. Because if we take into consideration that she was the last one in the study, say that, like, Natsuhi... We'll say that Natsuhi killed Kinzo for whatever reason. Or, like, Kinzo, like, was like, open this window and close it behind me. Side note, but you really am a fan of the original art of the visual novel? I do like it. I do like the original art. I have the option to switch it on. I just like the... You know, the old ones are really good. I like how, like, chunky and soft they are. You had the PS3 version, so you're used to the PS... Yeah, the PS3 version is the one that are the designs I'm most used to. And these ones are... The ones that are... The new ones for the Steam release are pretty close. It's a different artist, but, like... The vibe is similar, so it's fine. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Anything fun going on? Anything fun happening on Twitch TV? I don't think that Natsuhi's, I don't think that Natsuhi did the blood on her door. It would make sense that it was, it would make sense that it was, like, Eva, and if it was Eva and Hideyoshi, like, that explains it, because they're trying to make sure it's the witch. The blood on her door? Well, that was way before that. That wouldn't have been Maria. Maria was sound asleep. She couldn't have done that. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, we're just gonna read into Yoko, I think, is the thing. Yeah, I'm gonna... Well, to those of you who are new, all of the VODs are up on... well, I haven't uploaded all of them to YouTube yet, but they should, for the most part, the ones that aren't on Twitch right now are on YouTube. If you'd like to join our book club, after I get back from my vacation next week, we're gonna be starting chapter 2. That would be on... Let me see. What day would that be? So our next book club will be on the 23rd. The 23rd of May, because I'll be gone next week. The bodies could have been there for a while, no? No. There's no way that Maria could have done it. Maria is completely faultless for that one. Maria didn't even see the bodies of the last one. Of the first one. So, well, it'll all become clear later. I'm sure it'll become clear later, but it's one of those things, it's just really odd. But let us... I'm gonna set this up really quick before... So I am actually gonna wrap up and stop us there, because I do need to go to bed. It's 1:30 a.m. and I have to be up really early tomorrow. So, teehee. But, I think instead of Umineko tomorrow, we'll probably do something different. I might play, like, Minecraft or something and just, like, chill. Chill and vibe for a few hours on Friday night. But this is so good. I'm like so into this now. I'm ready. I'm ready for it. Good night, have a good sleep. Thank you. Glad I found y'all. This is a cozy stream. Thank you. We do go every Thursday except for next week. Next week I'm gonna be out of town, so no stream on Thursday next week. But we will be playing more Umineko on Thursday, starting on the 23rd, as I said before. So, I'm sending us over to Yoko Draco. Yoko's a very cute river dragon. She got her new model soon. She got her new model, and she's very cute. She's playing some Stardew right now, so it's very cozy. Do your best to solve the witch's riddle. I want to solve it so bad. I love riddles. Listen, I love Zero Escape. I'm a big Zero Escape fan, and that should tell you most about me. I just love stupid bullshit, so this is just up my alley. But, once again, I'm Serial Local Conductor over on the Gahan Express. Our next stop is Yoko Draco. She's a very, very cute river dragon VTuber. Please give her some kind words and such. Let us... We've got our raid message here. So, there we go, there we go. We'll choo-choo our way on over to Yoko's. So... once again, I'm Siri, your conductor, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye! See you tomorrow!